Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio Chapter 51. Looking through autumn water, Douluo is a dignified titled Douluo, and the spirit power within his body is extremely vast. As a heaven and earth treasure, although the earth dragon golden melon can be considered a top-tier immortal herb, it is only comparable to a spirit beast of several tens of thousands of years. That sweeping earth attribute energy was easily suppressed by Douluo. Then Douluo began to methodically refine this earth attribute energy. The refined energy merged into his internal organs and limbs, making Douluo's aging body feel as if it had regained its youthful vitality. Every cell in his body was cheering at this moment, greedily absorbing the energy of the earth dragon golden melon, bursting with vigorous vitality. Douluo was also very pleasantly surprised. Originally, he was old, and his potential had been getting lower and lower. But after absorbing the energy of this immortal herb, a new surge of vitality bloomed within his body once again. This was equivalent to a rejuvenation, as his body restored itself toward its peak state. Not just his body, but even his spirit power began to grow at a slow but steady pace after absorbing this energy. How could Douluo not be happy? Everything was going well, but just at this moment. Douluo's jade phosphor serpent spirit suddenly became restless, showing an almost greedy craving for the medicinal power of the earth dragon golden melon. Without receiving Douluo's command, the jade phosphor serpent opened its bloody maw and gulped down the medicinal power of the earth dragon golden melon. After Douluo discovered this, he didn't stop it. Instead, he thought to himself with some anticipation, I wonder if my jade phosphor serpent still has a chance to evolve into a jade phosphorus dragon emperor. After a while, Douluo keenly perceived that his jade phosphor serpent spirit began to show signs of evolution after absorbing the energy of the earth dragon golden melon. Douluo's spirits were immediately lifted, and he focused even more on observing his spirit. But after only a moment, Douluo frowned because he found that his jade phosphor serpent spirit showed no sign at all of transforming into a dragon. Although it was evolving, it continued to evolve in the direction of a serpent. After some deep thought, Douluo quickly reached a conclusion. On the day I achieved a breakthrough titled Douluo, my jade phosphor snake spirit's origin and growth path were completely fixed. This earth dragon golden melon indeed contains amazing medicinal power, but unfortunately, it is not enough to force my already fixed spirit origin and growth path in another direction. After my jade phosphor serpent spirit devoured the medicinal power of the earth dragon golden melon, although signs of evolution appeared, it was evolving toward the jade phosphorus serpent ancestor. It seems it can only be this way. I have completely taken shape in this life and can only continue on this path of jade phosphor snake, jade phosphor serpent, and jade phosphorus serpent ancestor. Although I cannot transform into a dragon, if my spirit continues to evolve, it will be enough to make me a standout among the titled Douluo. Thinking of this, Douluo no longer hoped for dragon transformation and began to wholeheartedly absorb the energy of the earth dragon golden melon to accelerate his spirit's evolution and the growth of his spirit power. Douluo's mind was quite broad-minded. After discovering that his spirit could not transform into a dragon, he didn't take long to accept the reality. Meanwhile, in the outside world, Douluo's eyes were closed, his brow furrowing and relaxing from time to time, all of which were seen by Douluo and Chen. Douluo asked with some concern, Grandpa Chen, what's going on with my grandpa? Is it difficult to absorb the earth dragon golden melon? Why is he still frowning? Chen sensed Douluo's aura. It's fine, don't worry. Big brother Douluo's aura is steadily rising, which indicates that the absorption of the earth dragon golden melon is going very smoothly. As for the frowning, it might be because absorbing the earth dragon golden melon didn't meet Big brother Douluo's expectations. After all, Big brother Douluo is already a titled Douluo. An earth dragon golden melon, even if it is an immortal herb, is not enough to make Big Brother Douluo undergo a complete transformation from the inside out like when you ate the dragon origin fruit. You are only a spirit elder. After absorbing the dragon origin fruit, you can increase your spirit power by 10 levels. As for Big Brother Douluo, being able to increase his spirit power by 1 level after absorbing the Earth Dragon Golden Melon is already very impressive. Douluo Yan nodded as if she suddenly understood. After confirming that there was no problem with Douluo, Douluo Yan focused her attention on Chen and said with a sly smile, "Grandpa Chen, I heard from Grandpa that your current appearance is fake, a disguise you made to avoid enemies. There are no outsiders here now, so isn't it too tiring to keep yourself disguised? Why not take it off?" Last time Chen was soaking naked in the ice and fire yin-yang well, Douluo Yan had taken a quick glance. His broad shoulders, narrow waist, well-proportioned muscles, and skin as delicate as jade had made her heart race a little. Later, Douluo Yan had some suspicions that Chen's body was definitely not that of a middle-aged man in his 30s. Perhaps the real Chen was even younger than he appeared now. This piqued Douluo Yan's interest, and she really wanted to know Chen's true face under the disguise. At this time, Chen had no intention of removing his disguise, so he laughed it off and quickly changed the subject. "Yan, my appearance is old and ugly. To avoid scaring you, it's better to maintain the status quo. Keep an eye on things here. Big Brother Douluo's absorption of the Earth Dragon Golden Melon is now on the right track. There's no need for both of us to stay by his side. Before we set out to find a spirit beast, I will also try to absorb another immortal herb to strengthen my foundation, and strive to absorb a spirit ring of an even higher age for my 7th spirit ring." After saying this, Chen left without looking back. Douluo Yan watched Chen's departing back, her eyes full of curiosity. The more Chen wanted to hide, the more curious Douluo Yan became. Douluo Yan bit her lip and thought to herself, "The more you don't let me see, the more I want to see." Chen said he is old and ugly, but I don't believe it. "One day, I will see your true face under the disguise." On the other side, Chen quickly found his target. A small green grass with a few drops of crystal clear dew hanging from it. Looking through autumn water dew, this was an immortal herb that could increase mental force. It had been half a month since Chen ate the 2 immortal herbs, octagonal mysterious ice grass and fiery apricot delicate flower, and his body had adapted well enough by now. He would soon go to hunt the Blue-Silver King to serve as his 7th spirit ring. It was also time to consume this looking through autumn water dew, which could enhance mental force. Chen nimbly picked the looking through autumn water dew, held it above his head, and brought it to his mouth. Tilting the grass slightly, the few drops of dew on it trickled into his mouth. Having lost those few drops of dew, the small grass in Chen's hand quickly withered, losing all its vitality. The essence of the looking through autumn water dew was these few drops of dew. Chen's Adam's apple moved slightly. After swallowing those few drops of dew, he immediately sat cross-legged on the spot and began to refine the energy of the dew. In an instant, a refreshing, cool aura rose from his abdominal cavity all the way up and poured into his brain. This gave Chen a mental boost. Feeling the cool sensation in his brain, his mental force began to grow rapidly. Chapter 52. Massive improvement, ice and fire yin-yang well. Although Chen's eyes were closed, he could still see the world. In the process of absorbing the looking through autumn water dew, his mental force was growing rapidly, even overflowing from his body. Chen was looking at everything around him from another perspective through that overflowing mental force. He saw that the air was filled with 2 colors of energy, red and white. The red energy was fire attribute energy. The white energy was ice attribute energy. The entire valley was filled with these 2 energies. There was almost no third attribute energy present. The surrounding immortal herbs and poisonous herbs were breathing in and refining the energy of these 2 attributes, increasing their growth speed by 10 times or even more. This ice and fire yin-yang well was indeed a uniquely blessed treasure land for these plants. At the same time, Chen also saw Douluo and Douluo Yan. Douluo was still absorbing the energy of the Earth Dragon Golden Melon. Faint, earthy yellow light radiated from the surface of his body. That light was actually the energy of the Earth Dragon Golden Melon. As for Douluo Yan, she was guarding by Douluo's side. However, Douluo Yan's eyes would occasionally glance toward Lu Chen's position, her fair little face showing curiosity and a hint of eagerness to try something. Lu Chen was a clever man, and quickly realized that his disguise had piqued Douluo Yan's curiosity. But he truly could not let anyone discover his true face. His face was simply too young and tender. A level 70 quasi-spirit saint who wasn't even 10 years old would definitely be enough to make anyone's jaw drop. Even facing Douluo and Douluo Yan, he didn't want to expose it, not until he had enough power to protect himself. Subsequently, Lu Chen suppressed all sorts of random thoughts in his heart and began to wholeheartedly absorb the energy of the looking through autumn water dew. During the absorption process, time passed quickly without him noticing, and 5 hours soon went by. Lu Chen, who had successfully absorbed the energy of the looking through autumn water dew, woke up at this moment, his eyes slowly opening. In an instant, 2 beams of sharp light burst forth, stretching more than half a foot as if they were physical objects. But in just a few breaths, the sharp light that had burst from his eyes retracted back into them. In addition to enhancing mental force, the looking through autumn water dew could also greatly improve one's eyesight, allowing one to cultivate fiery eyes and golden pupils, and possess the ability to see through all sorts of wondrous things. From now on, skills like charm or illusions would completely lose their effect in front of Lu Chen. Of course, the most important thing was still the improvement of his mental force. Overall, Lu Chen's current mental force should not be weaker than Douluo's. Compared to the beginning, his mental force had increased more than tenfold. Now, when absorbing the Blue-Silver King's spirit ring, the Blue-Silver King's mental shock would no longer be able to harm him. Furthermore, with this vigorous mental force, his Blue-Silver domain also underwent an evolution. The basic ability of the Blue-Silver domain was the command of Blue-Silver grass, and allowing him to communicate with plants through his spirit. Going a step further was his disguise ability, disguising his identity and spirit rings. In the past, when his mental force was insufficient, his disguise could still have flaws discovered by others. But now, with his mental force, even a titled Douluo like Douluo would no longer be able to see any flaws on his face. Now, as long as Lu Chen was willing to change his face, it was estimated that even Zhu King or Ning Fengzhai would be unable to find his tracks again in the vast crowd. Lu Chen's safety now had more guarantees. Not only that, this mental force improvement also allowed him to unlock a brand new ability of the Blue-Silver domain. That is, Lu Chen could use the Blue-Silver domain to control the Blue-Silver grass in nature to perform spirit abilities. If he were in a forest or grassland where Blue-Silver grass was everywhere, he could use the Blue-Silver domain to control the Blue-Silver grass to perform various spirit abilities. This would be enough to make him a single support soul master, comparable to dozens or even hundreds of support soul masters. The massive improvement from absorbing the looking through autumn water dew this time was evident. Lu Chen, joyful in his heart, curled his lips into a smile and leaped up from the ground. Noticing that Lu Chen had woken up, the grandfather and granddaughter pair, Douluo and Douluo Yan, also walked over to him. Douluo seemed to be in a good mood. He laughed heartily and said, "Brother Lan Chen, you've woken up too. Just now, after I woke up, I noticed that your mental force was exceptionally active. It seems you've eaten another immortal herb that can increase mental force." Lu Chen smiled slightly upon hearing this and said, "Yes, I've eaten another immortal herb. These immortal herbs are all 1 in a million treasures. That I was able to eat 3 immortal herbs in succession is also thanks to Big Brother Douluo's medicine garden. Otherwise, even if I traveled across the entire continent, I might not have been able to find 3 immortal herbs. By the way, since Big Brother Douluo is awake, you must have refined the Earth Dragon Golden Melon. How does it feel? What improvements did you get?" Speaking of this, Douluo immediately became high-spirited, his smile stretching almost to his ears as he spoke excitedly. Haha, I feel great right now. After absorbing the Earth Dragon Golden Melon, it feels like I've become decades younger, returning to the peak of my physical condition. My spirit power didn't increase much, only rising by one level, from level 92 spirit power to level 93. But this is already very good. Once you reach titled Douluo, every level of spirit power increase takes years, or even over a decade of cultivation. A single Earth Dragon Golden Melon saved me several years of time. It truly deserves to be called a top-tier immortal herb. As for my spirit, unfortunately, it couldn't transform into a dragon. After the Jade Phosphor Snake evolved into the Jade Phosphor Serpent, it was completely set in its form. It's not something a single immortal herb can change. After absorbing the Earth Dragon Golden Melon, my Jade Phosphor Serpent evolved into the Jade Phosphorus Serpent ancestor, and I also gained a second attribute, the Earth attribute. From now on, any snake-type spirit or spirit beast will be greatly suppressed in front of me, the Jade Phosphorus Serpent ancestor, able to exert 50% of their strength at most. In addition, my second attribute, the Earth attribute, not only helps me suppress the potent toxins in my body, but also grants me a very special ability. As long as my feet are on the ground, I can continuously draw energy from the earth to recover my spirit power. In the future, when facing any enemy, as long as I remain standing on the earth, I can wear them down to death. This ability can be said to be quite practical. Hearing Douluo Dalu's words, Chen was also quite amazed. The Earth Dragon Golden Melon. It seemed this immortal herb really gave Douluo Dalu quite a lot of improvements. He said with a chuckle, cupping his hands in greeting. Then I must truly congratulate Big Brother Douluo. Now that Big Brother Douluo has woken up and I have too, let's set off together to hunt a suitable spirit beast for my 7th spirit ring. Douluo Dalu patted his chest and guaranteed, no problem. In this sunset forest, whatever spirit beast you take a fancy to, I'll help you severely wound it. Chen replied to this, Big Brother Douluo, the spirit beast I've set my sights on is not in the sunset forest. We need to go on a long journey to a border mountain range where the two great empires meet. Within that border mountain range lies the Blue-Silver Forest, where the Blue-Silver King resides. Through the Blue-Silver domain, Chen was already able to roughly lock onto the location of the Blue-Silver Forest. Hearing this, Douluo Dalu agreed without any hesitation and set off with Chen, bringing his granddaughter Douluo Yan along. Under Chen's guidance, they set off for the Blue-Silver Forest. Chapter 53. The Blue-Silver Forest. Douluo Dalu was capable of flight. As they traveled, he carried Douluo Yan in one hand and Chen in the other. Even including time for meals, sleep, and other rests, it took less than 3 days to travel from the depths of the Sunset Forest to the border mountain range where the two great empires met. Through the Blue-Silver domain, Chen had already roughly determined the location of the Blue-Silver Forest. Under Chen's guidance, Douluo Dalu quickly landed outside the Blue-Silver Forest with Douluo Yan and Chen. After the three landed steadily, Chen stared intently at the forest ahead. From within that forest, countless life signatures, both large and small, emanated. Each life signature belonged to a blue-silver grass with cultivation. There were 100-year blue-silver grass, 1,000-year blue-silver grass, and even 10,000-year blue-silver grass. Deep in Chen's eyes, a flash of excitement surfaced, but he suppressed it. He then looked at Douluo Dalu and Douluo Yan, speaking with a solemn expression. Big Brother Douluo, Yan, since we've arrived here, I should be more honest. You've seen my spirit. It is actually an evolved form of blue-silver grass called the Blue-Silver King. For any spirit master, the 7th spirit ring is crucial. Only a 7th spirit ring with a matching attribute can activate a martial soul avatar skill that maximizes the spirit's advantages. The spirit beast I want to hunt is inside this forest. It's a Blue-Silver King with extremely high cultivation. Using this Blue-Silver King spirit beast's spirit ring as the 7th spirit ring for my Blue-Silver King spirit will surely unlock the most compatible martial soul avatar for me. Regarding Chen's spirit, Douluo Dalu had actually suspected it long ago. Hearing Chen's words now, he wasn't too surprised. Douluo Yan, however, was learning for the first time that Lu Chen's spirit was a blue-silver king evolved from blue-silver grass. She blinked her beautiful eyes and spoke in great surprise. Blue-silver grass is universally recognized as a trash spirit on the continent. I didn't expect it could evolve, and that the evolved blue-silver king would be a top-tier spirit with a domain ability. After she finished speaking, Douluo chuckled and said with full confidence, "Brother Lan Chen, don't worry. You have shown great kindness to us, grandfather and granddaughter. This time, I will personally take action to help you heavily wound that blue-silver king and make it your 7th spirit ring." Lu Chen smiled upon hearing this. With Douluo taking action, hunting the blue-silver king this time would be a sure thing. He said with a laugh, "Then I'll have to trouble big brother Douluo. Let's head in now." Douluo nodded in agreement. "All right, after entering this forest, I'll take the lead. Yan, stay by Lan Chen's side. He's a support soul master with no combat capability, so you must protect him well." Hearing Douluo say this, Lu Chen was momentarily stunned. He was indeed a support soul master, but he wasn't the fragile kind. He had plenty of strength and methods. However, it seemed that during this period, he had never demonstrated his combat abilities in front of Douluo and Douluo Yan. As a result, Douluo still thought he was a support soul master without any combat capability. After thinking for a moment, Lu Chen chose to smile without saying anything, planning to let the facts speak for themselves in the future. At this moment, Douluo Yan walked to Lu Chen's side and said, "Okay, Grandpa, I understand. I will protect Grandpa Lan Chen well." With the plan deployed in advance, Douluo took the lead, Lu Chen walked in the middle, and Douluo Yan was at the rear. The three of them walked into the blue-silver forest. Inside the forest, perhaps because Douluo carried killing intent and radiated an undisguised malice, the numerous blue-silver grass in this forest were extremely wary of him. Accompanied by a rustling sound, one blue-silver vine after another coiled toward them like creepers, attempting a binding. Seeing this, Douluo began to condense his spirit power, preparing to forcibly blast a path open. However, Lu Chen acted first. He released his blue-silver domain, and the invisible ripples of the blue-silver domain spread out in all directions with him as the center. Under the shroud of the blue-silver domain, the surrounding 100-year and 1,000-year blue-silver grass all trembled slightly and then bowed down to Lu Chen. These ordinary blue-silver grass simply could not resist the pressure of Lu Chen's blue-silver king spirit. Rustle, rustle. The blue-silver vines that had coiled forward quickly retracted and even actively cleared a path for Douluo, Lu Chen, and Douluo Yan. Lu Chen then spoke with a smile. "Big brother Douluo, let's continue forward. Following this path will lead to the center of the forest." Douluo gave Lu Chen a deep look. "Brother Lan Chen, your domain is truly convenient. The blue-silver king, the king of blue-silver grass, this name is well-deserved." After saying this, Douluo turned back and strode toward the forest center, while Lu Chen and Douluo Yan followed closely behind him. All the blue-silver grass ahead retreated to the sides, and they reached the central location of the forest without encountering any obstacles. In the center of the forest stood a towering giant tree, crystal clear and azure blue, radiating life signatures from top to bottom. This towering giant tree was not actually a tree. It was that blue-silver king with 85,000 years of cultivation. Because of its profound cultivation, its trunk was exceptionally tall and thick, looking like a towering giant tree. In the next instant, an old human face slowly emerged on the trunk of the blue-silver king, and a steady, powerful voice came from its mouth. "Foreign blue-silver king, why have you come to this blue-silver forest?" Lu Chen chuckled upon hearing this, asking what you already know. "I am a human spirit master, and you are a plant spirit beast. What other purpose could I have in coming to find you?" After saying this, Lu Chen looked at Douluo with burning eyes. "Big brother Douluo, please take action." Douluo's expression was startled. Sensing the unfathomable aura emanating from the blue-silver king, he spoke with a tone full of shock. "Brother Lan Chen, are you sure you haven't made a mistake? The cultivation of this blue-silver king is at least 80,000 years or more." My ninth spirit ring back then was only 70-some thousand years, not even reaching 80,000. Using an 80,000-year spirit ring as your seventh spirit ring, you're truly courting death. Chen spoke urgently. Big brother Douluo, I have my reasons for this choice. I've consumed 3 immortal herbs. If I weren't certain, I wouldn't do such a thing. Please, big brother Douluo, take action. Since things had reached this point, Douluo gritted his teeth and stepped forward. A heaven-toppling aura erupted from his body as 9 spirit rings, yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 rose from beneath his feet. The blue-silver king at the forest center also appeared exceptionally furious. It roared in a low voice. Human, wanting my spirit ring is a pipe dream. This entire forest is my people. Prepare to leave your bones here. Boom, an invisible wave erupted from the blue-silver king's body and quickly spread in all directions. It was the blue-silver domain. Within the coverage of the blue-silver domain, all the blue-silver grass grew frantically, sweeping toward Douluo, Chen, and Douluo Yan. The blue-silver king intended to use the power of all the blue-silver grass in the blue-silver forest to suppress Douluo, Chen, and Douluo Yan in one fell swoop. Chapter 54. The cooperation between Douluo and Chen, blue-silver domain. It's not like you're the only one who has it. As Chen finished speaking, he also activated his blue-silver domain. An invisible ripple centered on him and rapidly spread out in all directions. The 2 domains overlapped, engaging in an extremely fierce clash. Since neither was an offensive domain, the most direct manifestation of their struggle was seen in the surrounding blue-silver grass. The vast amount of surrounding blue-silver grass would sometimes be controlled by the blue-silver king, twisting like serpents and pythons as they tried to bind Douluo, Chen, and Douluo Yan. At other times, Chen would seize control, turning them around to launch an attack against the blue-silver king. But before they could touch the blue-silver king, it would snatch back control of the vines once more. Back and forth it went, as the surrounding blue-silver grass fell into a state of internal strife. All the blue-silver grass split into 2 distinct factions, one following the blue-silver king and the other following Chen. The 2 sides fought tooth and nail. Chen's expression was tense, as he poured a continuous stream of mental force into his blue-silver domain, strengthening his control over the blue-silver grass. Although he couldn't completely sever the blue-silver king's control over the grass, he made it impossible for the king to draw upon the power of the many plants within the blue-silver forest. Fortunately, before setting out, Chen had consumed the Looking Through Autumn Water Dew, which had boosted his mental force to the level of a titled Douluo. This gave him the confidence to use his blue-silver domain to restrain the blue-silver king. Otherwise, his domain would likely have been suppressed by the king's own. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Douluo launched an attack. Facing a blue-silver king with 85,000 years of cultivation, he knew that 100-year or 1,000-year spirit abilities would be completely useless. Therefore, he directly utilized his 10,000-year 6th spirit ability. 6th spirit ability, Green Phosphorus Snake Emperor Break. Douluo's 6th spirit ring lit up with a deep black light. Under the continuous infusion of his spirit power, a pitch-black ball of toxic energy condensed between his palms. In just a few breaths, the toxic energy ball, which was originally only the size of a fist, expanded into a massive sphere 2 meters in diameter. The terrifying energy fluctuations caused the surrounding air to become thick and viscous. At the same time, a faint, foul stench drifted from the toxic energy ball. A single whiff was enough to make one feel dizzy and faint. Go! Douluo suddenly gave a loud shout and threw the massive toxic energy ball with all his might, hurling it toward the blue-silver king's main body. The blue-silver king sensed the danger, but because Chen was using his blue-silver domain to restrain it, it couldn't spare much focus. It could only hurriedly weave its own vines into a shield to block the attack. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. In the next instant, the toxic ball slammed into the shield. The corrosive poison contained within the sphere began to rapidly eat away at the blue-silver vines, plumes of white smoke rose from the vines, and one could see them withering, rotting, and decaying at a visible rate. The ferocity of the corrosive poison from the green phosphorus snake emperor brake was truly shocking to behold. In less than 10 breaths, a large hole was corroded through the shield woven from blue-silver vines. The pitch-black toxic sphere of the green phosphorus snake emperor brake passed through the hole and slammed into the blue-silver king's main body. Ah! Almost instantly, the blue-silver king let out a scream of agony. The corrosive poison of the pitch-black sphere rapidly ate away at its trunk, vines, and leaves, causing plumes of white smoke to erupt from its body. Under such intense pain, the blue-silver king was no longer able to maintain its blue-silver domain. Seizing this golden opportunity, Chen quickly exerted his power. Using his blue-silver domain, he forcibly broke through the blue-silver king's domain and took control of all the surrounding blue-silver grass in one fell swoop. Though they were still in the blue-silver forest, the blue-silver king had become isolated. All of its blue-silver grass subjects had been snatched away by Chen through his blue-silver domain. All the surrounding blue-silver grass, whether 100-year or 1,000-year plants, leaned slightly toward Chen, looking as if they were performing a pilgrimage. Already suffering from the agony of the poison, the blue-silver king was now forced to watch as all its subjects submitted to Chen. It was so consumed by impotent rage that it nearly spat blood. In the clash just now, the blue-silver king had undoubtedly been defeated. However, as an 85,000-year blue-silver king, its cultivation was profound, and its life force was incredibly vibrant. In a short amount of time, it used its vigorous life force to gradually dilute and decompose the corrosive poison that had invaded its body. Furthermore, one could see the gashes corroded into the blue-silver king's trunk rapidly regrowing under the nourishment of its life force, quickly returning to their original state. The blue-silver king's life force gave it a near undying body. If it wasn't heavily injured in one go, it could recover extremely quickly. The blue-silver king let out an angry roar. Don't think that just because you've controlled all my subjects, I'm helpless against you. Blue-silver overlord spear. In an instant, a terrifying energy fluctuation erupted from within the blue-silver king's body. Accompanied by a burst of brilliant blue light, a blue long spear 3 meters in size rapidly condensed. In the distance, seeing this, Chen immediately unleashed his third spirit ability, blue-silver protection. Furthermore, he used the blue-silver domain to control all the surrounding blue-silver grass to release a collective blue-silver protection together. All the surrounding blue-silver grass bloomed with dazzling blue light, eventually condensing into a blue shield 1/2 foot thick. That blue shield stood between the blue-silver king and the trio of Douluo Dalu, Chen, and Douluo Yan. Douluo Dalu and Douluo Yan both showed looks of surprise upon seeing the thick blue shield, followed by a sense of relief. Just then, the blue-silver overlord spear condensed by the blue-silver king, carrying a sharp edge that could destroy anything, tore through the air with a whistle and lunged toward Douluo Dalu's position. Clang, with a loud bang, the blue-silver overlord spear slammed into the blue shield. Gale force winds scattered, and terrifying energy fluctuations spread out in all directions. Crack. Crack under the sharp edge of the blue-silver overlord spear. Fine cracks finally began to appear on the blue shield. This collective blue-silver protection was currently Chen's strongest defensive method. However, the blue-silver king was an 85,000-year top-tier plant spirit beast. The blue-silver overlord spear it released with all its might was not so easily blocked. But for the time being, the blue shield wouldn't shatter just yet. Taking advantage of this time, Chen unleashed his 5th spirit ability, Blue-Silver Blessing. Similarly, through the blue-silver domain, he controlled all the surrounding blue-silver grass to perform a collective blue-silver blessing. All the surrounding blue-silver grass bloomed with dazzling light, which then converged toward Douluo Dalu's body. Vibrant life force was gathered within that dazzling light. As that life force entered his body, Douluo discovered to his surprise that all his attributes had received a boost exceeding 100%. Attack, defense, strength, speed. The enhancement effects for all attributes surpassed 100%. Originally, Chen's fifth spirit ability, Blue-Silver Blessing, provided a 100% increase to all attributes. But by using the Blue-Silver domain to control the Blue-Silver grass in nature, the collective Blue-Silver Blessing he performed caused the total attribute boost to exceed 100%. Because of the sheer number of Blue-Silver grass in the Blue-Silver forest, the effect of the collective Blue-Silver Blessing had actually reached 300%. Chen immediately shouted, "Big brother Douluo, it's up to you now." Feeling the surging power within his body, Douluo laughed and said, "Brother Chen, this boost of yours is truly terrifying. I even feel confident enough now to trade blows with a rank 95 titled Douluo. Just you watch, I'll definitely take care of this Blue-Silver King for you." Chapter 55, Jade Phosphorus Divine Light. Under Chen's augmentation, Douluo felt an inexhaustible surge of power within his body. He looked toward the Blue-Silver King's position, laughed heartily, and said, "Haha, I'll use you to test exactly how terrifying my power is now." Seventh Spirit Ability, Jade Phosphorus Avatar. In an instant, a terrifying energy fluctuation erupted from Douluo's body. Accompanied by a burst of dazzling green light, Douluo's figure vanished within the radiance. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share infinite novel audio. In his place was a massive jade phosphorus giant python. Its enormous head was like a millstone, and its eyes projected a cold, bloodthirsty light. The python's body was as thick as a water vat, and its length reached a staggering 50 meters. Its entire being radiated a violent aura that made one shudder. Originally, even when Douluo used his martial soul avatar, he would at most reach 30 meters in length. But after absorbing the Earth Dragon Golden Melon, his Jade Phosphor Serpent Spirit had evolved into the Jade Phosphorus Serpent Ancestor Spirit, giving his strength a qualitative leap. Beyond that, Chen had just used his Blue-Silver domain to command the numerous Blue-Silver grass throughout the forest to launch a collective Blue-Silver Blessing. Infused with a massive amount of life force, this provided Douluo with a 300% boost to all attributes. This resulted in his current terrifying size. Douluo felt as though his body was filled with endless power, making him want to vent it recklessly. Hiss. The jade phosphorus giant python flicked its tongue and let out a frightening hiss. Then, it lunged forward with such speed that only a blurred shadow could be seen as it pounced toward the Blue-Silver King. In the blink of an eye, the jade phosphorus giant python had closed in on the Blue-Silver King. In a flash, the jade phosphorus giant python twisted its body, and its thick tail whipped high into the air, leaving a blurred afterimage as it lashed out at the Blue-Silver King's main trunk. Bang! The Blue-Silver King's entire trunk trembled violently from the blow. Where the jade phosphorus giant python's tail had struck, a layer of bark was scraped away, and blue sap began to drip and ooze out. The Blue-Silver King let out a cry of pain. This was the downside of being a plant-type spirit beast. They needed to be rooted in the ground. When facing an enemy or an attack, they could neither run nor dodge, able to run, unable to hide. The only option was a head-on confrontation. With a thought, the Blue-Silver King controlled hundreds of blue-silver vines, each as thick as an adult's arm. These blue-silver vines moved like serpents, lunging to perform a binding on the jade phosphorus giant python. Within a few breaths, the vines layered over each other, wrapping the jade phosphorus giant python up like a rice dumpling. The jade phosphorus giant python roared and began to twist its body frantically. Terrifying strength erupted, and the blue-silver vines were simply unable to withstand the force. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, the blue-silver vines tightened and snapped, leaving broken branches and withered leaves scattered all over the ground. After breaking free from the binding, the jade phosphorus giant python swung its thick tail, lashing the Blue-Silver King's body repeatedly and without pause. The Blue-Silver King cried out in pain continuously. Its trunk could be seen shaking violently under the assault, its surface covered in wounds. The bark had been scraped clean, and droplets of blue sap flowed everywhere like blood, the terrifying power of the jade phosphorus giant python. One could only imagine. However, frustratingly, the Blue Silver King's immense life force was rapidly repairing its body. The bark that had been scraped away could be restored to its original state in just a few breaths. The jade phosphorus giant python also noticed this. He quickly changed his strategy, no longer using his tail to whip the Blue Silver King's trunk. Instead, with a twist of his body, he coiled himself around the Blue Silver King's trunk, loop after loop. During this process, the Blue Silver King naturally resisted, constantly waving its blue-silver vines to bind and whip, trying to stop the jade phosphorus giant python's movements. However, the jade phosphorus giant python had received a boost of over 300% to all attributes. Strength, speed, defense, attack. Everything had been vastly enhanced. It was not something the blue-silver vines could hope to shake. The Blue Silver King could only watch helplessly as the jade phosphorus giant python coiled around it layer by layer. Then, the jade phosphorus giant python began to exert sudden force, intending to uproot the Blue Silver King and strip it of its ability to resist. Rumble. In an instant, the entire earth trembled, yet the Blue Silver King's trunk remained completely motionless. The Blue Silver King roared with anger and pride, saying, "Before this place was even a forest, I had already taken root here. My root system has long since occupied every corner of this forest, becoming one with the entire woodland. Damned human, even if you can take away my blue-silver grass subjects, do not think you can budge my roots one bit unless you destroy the entire forest. But that is impossible. Blue-silver does not die. Blue-silver is eternal." Hearing the Blue Silver King's boastful words, a flash of determination crossed the jade phosphorus giant python's eyes. Originally, Douluo didn't want to use that move, because once that spirit ability's power was unleashed, even he couldn't control it. But this Blue Silver King's vitality was truly a bit too terrifying. If he didn't use that move, he really wouldn't have a way to deal with it. Ninth spirit ability, Jade Phosphorus Divine Light. As the words fell, the body of the jade phosphorus giant python gradually became translucent, and streaks of emerald green light radiated from its translucent form. Those emerald green lights were the most terrifying corrosive poison in the world, the moment they touched the Blue Silver King's body. They caused an extremely severe corrosive effect on the Blue Silver King's trunk, branches, and leaves. Furthermore, the most terrifying aspect of this spirit ability was that once the corrosive poison touched the opponent's body, it could use that body as a nursery to replicate and multiply infinitely. Eventually, even Douluo wouldn't be able to resolve it. Therefore, in the past, Douluo rarely used his ninth spirit ability. The Blue Silver King wailed continuously. This jade phosphorus divine light skill was practically born to counter it. The Blue Silver King's most terrifying trait was the majestic life force it had accumulated over countless years, allowing it to recover quickly from any injury. But as the corrosive poison of the jade phosphorus divine light invaded its body, it began to consume its life force, constantly replicating and increasing. With one side weakening and the other strengthening, its life force would eventually be drained completely dry. Unfortunately, the Blue Silver King had no good way to stop it. It could only wail incessantly, watching helplessly as its life force was consumed by the corrosive poison of the jade phosphorus divine light. 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 3 hours. Soon, 3 hours had passed. The once tall and thick Blue Silver King had basically withered, rotted, and decayed under the corrosion of the jade phosphorus divine light's poison. Its trunk was cracked and devoid of vitality. Withered branches and fallen leaves covered the ground, and even the root system it took such pride in was now overburdened. The Blue Silver King, a plant spirit beast renowned for its life force, had ultimately lost to Douluo. At this moment, it was at its last gasp, with its end drawing near. Chapter 56. absorbing the Blue-Silver King's spirit ring in the very center of the Blue-Silver Forest. The area was currently enveloped in a layer of emerald-green poisonous mist. The next moment, Douluo Dalu, looking somewhat pale due to excessive spirit power consumption, walked out from within that emerald-green mist. Douluo Dalu walked over to Lu Chen's side, frowning slightly as he spoke with some difficulty. "Brother Chen, this Blue-Silver King is truly extraordinary. Its vitality is terrifyingly stubborn. It recovers in an instant from any damage caused by ordinary means. In the end, I had no choice but to use my 9th spirit ability. Although the Blue-Silver King is now on its last breath, this entire area is also shrouded in my poisonous mist. Even I have no way to neutralize it. How are you supposed to enter the mist to kill that dying Blue-Silver King?" Lu Chen, however, was not in a hurry. He chuckled and said, "This is enough. Thank you, big brother Douluo. I'll treat your injuries and restore your body first. As for that emerald-green mist, I'll find a way." First spirit ability, Blue-Silver Recovery. Second spirit ability, Blue-Silver Grace. Lu Chen activated his first and second spirit abilities. 2 blue-silver vines rapidly extended out, wrapping around Douluo Dalu's body, and then released a cloud of blue light mist. As Douluo Dalu bathed in the blue light mist, he felt waves of life energy continuously surging into his body. Amidst his curious and amazed expression, the injuries on the surface of his body healed at a staggering speed. His consumed physical strength and spirit power were also recovering rapidly, and even his mental fatigue received great soothing. After personally experiencing Lu Chen's support capabilities, Douluo Dalu couldn't help but give a thumbs up, praising him with admiration. "Brother Chen, your support abilities are simply breathtaking. Healing injuries, eliminating fatigue, restoring physical strength and spirit power, and even being able to release shields, neutralize potent poisons, and provide all attribute buffs. As a support soul master, you are worth 5 or 6 others. It's perfectly normal for Ning Fengjai to feel murderous intent toward you. In the future, no matter which power you wish to join, they will certainly treat you as an honored guest." Lu Chen smiled and spoke nonchalantly. "I think things are quite good as they are now, free and unconstrained. If I were made to join some organization, I'd probably find it hard to adjust. Big brother Douluo, let's not talk about that for now. I'm going to try to neutralize that emerald-green poison." With those words, Lu Chen cautiously walked toward the direction of the emerald-green poisonous mist. Although he had consumed the octagonal mysterious ice grass and the fiery apricot delicate flower, gaining a body immune to all poisons, he still didn't dare get too close. After all, he had just witnessed the terror of this corrosive poison with his own eyes. 4th spirit ability, Blue-Silver Baptism. Lu Chen fully expanded his blue-silver domain. Supported by his titled Douluo-level mental force, his blue-silver domain encompassed nearly the entire blue-silver forest. In the next instant, he mobilized every blue-silver grass in the entire forest to simultaneously release a mass blue-silver baptism. Relying on his strength alone, he might not necessarily have been able to purify the corrosive poison from Douluo Dalu's 9th spirit ability. Only by borrowing the power of all the blue-silver grass in the entire forest was it possible to completely purify that corrosive poison. At that moment, all the blue-silver grass in the entire forest followed Lu Chen's call, blooming with dazzling blue light. The blue light converged toward the sky, gathering more and more until it resembled a blue ocean, sacred, pure, and radiating a dense aura of life. Seeing this soul-stirring scene, expressions of amazement appeared on the faces of Douluo Dalu and Douluo Yan. The abilities Lu Chen displayed had already exceeded the scope of an ordinary support soul master. He was a one-man support army. In fact, if Lu Chen were to say now that he could bring the dead back to life or regrow flesh on bone, Douluo Dalu and Douluo Yan wouldn't have much doubt. Pitter-patter. Suddenly, that blue ocean in the sky poured down countless droplets of blue light rain, drenching the emerald-green poisonous mist. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The moment the blue light rain and the emerald-green mist touched, bursts of white steam erupted. Under the purification of that boundless life force, the emerald-green mist began to dissipate rapidly. With the entire blue-silver forest as his backing, Chen's power was inexhaustible. After more than 10 minutes of purification, the last bit of the emerald-green poisonous mist completely vanished into the air. Douluo watched in amazement. This was his 9th spirit ability and his strongest poison, which even he himself had no way to neutralize, yet it had been resolved by Chen. As the emerald-green mist dissipated, Chen could finally walk boldly to the side of the gasping blue-silver king. Chen's previous wave of blue-silver baptism had also purified the poison on the blue-silver king, making its current condition look a bit better. The blue-silver king let out heavy, feeble breaths. I hope you can treat all the blue-silver grass subjects well. Chen nodded and said, "They are my subjects, I will naturally treat them well. As for you, it is time for you to fall." With those words, Chen waved his hand, and countless blue-silver vines spread out like serpents, wrapping around the blue-silver king's mangled body. Chen suddenly applied force with his hand, and all the blue-silver vines instantly tightened to the limit, beginning to tear at the blue-silver king's remains. The blue-silver king's life force had already been drained dry by Douluo's corrosive poison. It no longer had any strength left to resist the tearing of the blue-silver vines. Crack, crack, crack. Accompanied by a series of snapping sounds, the massive trunk of the blue-silver king collapsed. The blue-silver king's life had finally come to an end. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. An incredibly surging black light was released from the blue-silver king's remains. The energy was so powerful and turbulent that it made the surrounding air turn viscous. The black light quickly gathered, shifting several times before condensing into a black spirit ring. It was a deep, profound black, a translucent, glossy black. This was an 85,000-year spirit ring. For an average titled Douluo, it would be sufficient to serve as their 9th spirit ring. Today, Chen was going to use this ring as his 7th spirit ring. His spirit was the blue-silver king. Absorbing a blue-silver king spirit ring would absolutely grant him the most compatible martial soul avatar skill. At this thought, Chen's eyes burned with fervor. However, at this moment, Douluo's worried voice drifted over. "Brother Chen, do you truly intend to absorb this spirit ring of over 80,000 years as your 7th spirit ring? This is no joke. If you aren't careful, you will die." Chen didn't turn back, but his firm voice carried back. "Big brother Douluo, don't worry. I won't joke with my own life. In that medicinal garden of yours, I consumed 3 immortal herbs. That is my confidence in absorbing this spirit ring. A blue-silver king spirit paired with a blue-silver king spirit ring will surely allow me to excavate my potential to the greatest extent. For the time being, I'll have to trouble big brother Douluo to protect me." Douluo sighed. Seeing that Chen had already made up his mind, there was nothing more he could say. He could only reply in a low voice, "I won't let anything disturb you. However, absorbing this spirit ring can only be done by yourself." Hearing this, Chen smiled slightly. With Douluo acting as a protector, he didn't need to dig a hole and hide inside it while absorbing the spirit ring. Chen sat cross-legged on the spot and gave a gentle beckon. The black spirit ring floated over, settling onto his blue-silver king spirit, then rapidly contracted and instantly merged into it. The spirit ring absorption was about to begin. Chapter 57. The newly ascended blue-silver emperor. At the moment Chen absorbed the blue-silver king's spirit ring, a surge of energy like a vast ocean swept through his body. The blue-silver king, with 85,000 years of cultivation. The surging energy accumulated within this spirit ring filled Chen's meridians to the brim in just a few breaths. His body was like a balloon being constantly inflated, starting to swell rapidly from head to toe. Chen had never faced such a dangerous moment while absorbing a spirit ring before. This time, if he wasn't careful, his body might be blown apart by the spirit ring. Pain, boundless pain, shot straight to Chen's crown, making his scalp go numb. Fortunately, his meridians, bones, muscles, and skin membranes were all emitting a faint golden light. That was the golden body tempered for him by the 2 immortal herbs, the octagonal mysterious ice grass and the fiery apricot delicate flower. Thanks to the golden body being strong enough, he could barely withstand the waves of surging energy. Otherwise, his body would have likely exploded. Only now did Lu Chen realize how lucky he had been when absorbing his first 6 spirit rings. At that time, although he didn't have a single spirit ring, he had spirit power as high as level 60 dormant within him, allowing him to absorb spirit rings with ease. But now, he truly only had level 70 spirit power, with no extra spirit power to help him suppress this 85,000-year spirit ring, making the absorption process incredibly difficult. In this situation, it was thanks to the first 6 spirit rings, all of which were absorbed beyond their limits, greatly strengthening his physique. Additionally, absorbing the 2 immortal herbs, the octagonal mysterious ice grass and the fiery apricot delicate flower, had further strengthened his body. This prevented his body from being instantly blown apart. Lu Chen gritted his teeth tightly, thinking with absolute determination, "There's no turning back. I've already absorbed the Blue Silver King's spirit ring. I absolutely cannot spit it out now. Although the massive energy of this spirit ring has inflated me like a balloon, it hasn't blown my body apart yet. That means I have a chance to successfully refine it." At this thought, Lu Chen desperately activated his Blue Silver King spirit, continuously devouring and refining this massive energy. At this moment, his Blue Silver King spirit was like a beast that hadn't eaten for weeks, devouring the energy of the Blue Silver King's spirit ring in huge gulps, eating ravenously without regard for whether it could even refine it all. His Blue Silver King spirit was too excited. It had never tasted such delicious energy in its life. His Blue Silver King spirit had originally been an ordinary blue-silver grass martial soul. It was because Lu Chen's previous 6 spirit rings were all absorbed beyond their limits, to the point where the combined years of the spirit rings had reached 100,000 years. Coupled with the fact that he absorbed spirit rings from plant spirit beasts with powerful vitality, it finally evolved into the Blue Silver King spirit. The problem now was that his Blue Silver King spirit had only absorbed other plant spirit beasts, and never a blue silver grass plant spirit beast. This resulted in an insufficient foundation, an unstable origin, and a lack of the most crucial blue-silver bloodline, making it unable to reach the level of the Blue-Silver Emperor. Otherwise, it would have evolved into the Blue-Silver Emperor last time, instead of stopping at the Blue-Silver King level. And this Blue-Silver King with 85,000 years of cultivation was the existence with the purest bloodline, the most sufficient foundation, and the most stable origin after the death of the previous generation's Blue-Silver Emperor, Yin. It was the one with the best chance to reach the Blue-Silver Emperor level. Even Tang San couldn't compare to the Blue-Silver King. Although he was a descendant of the Blue-Silver Emperor, as a half-human, half-spirit beast, his own bloodline was not pure enough. For various reasons, perhaps because the Blue-Silver King was loyal to the Blue-Silver Emperor, or perhaps because it feared Tang Hao's martial threat, it eventually gave the opportunity to evolve into the Blue-Silver Emperor to Tang San. If the Blue-Silver King hadn't voluntarily stepped aside, given Tang San's half-human, half-spirit beast bloodline and his absorption of a bunch of animal spirit beast spirit rings, he might not have been able to evolve into the Blue-Silver Emperor even in his next life. But now, this Blue-Silver King had been killed by Lu Chen, and Lu Chen was absorbing its spirit ring. Within that spirit ring lay the Blue-Silver King's purest bloodline energy, which was exactly what Lu Chen needed most right now. After his Blue-Silver King spirit absorbed this bloodline energy, its own life level began to transform. This time, it was a true transformation from king to emperor. Meanwhile, in the outside world, Douluo Bao and Douluo Yan both involuntarily showed looks of worry as they watched Lu Chen, who had swollen into a ball. Douluo Yan asked softly, Grandpa Lan Chen is pushing himself too hard. He's trying to absorb a spirit beast spirit ring of over 80,000 years for his 7th spirit ring. He looks like he could explode at any moment." Douluo Dalu shook his head and said, "Perhaps he has some unavoidable reason." The fact that absorbing a spirit-beast spirit ring of over 80,000 years didn't instantly blow him apart is already good news. Maybe he really can succeed. While Douluo Dalu and Douluo Yan were talking, another change occurred on Lu Chen's side. Since his mind was entirely focused on absorbing the Blue Silver King's spirit ring, he could no longer maintain the disguise of his appearance through the blue-silver domain, and he reverted to his original form. His long blue hair quickly turned black, and his originally ordinary middle-aged face returned to that of a youthful boy. This scene made the pupils of both Douluo Dalu and Douluo Yan shrink. Douluo Dalu said with a face full of shock, "So this is Brother Lan Chen's true face." "He's too young. He looks no older than 20, at most the same age as Yan Yan." Douluo Yan stomped her feet in anger. "Damn it. Grandpa, you're too much. Why did you have to call him brother? And this bastard Lan Chen, he doesn't even look older than me, yet I actually had to call him grandpa. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Once he finishes absorbing this spirit ring, I'll definitely give him a piece of my mind. He totally played with my feelings. I called him grandpa, and he actually accepted it." Listening to his granddaughter's complaints, Douluo Dalu could only shake his head with a bitter smile. This Lan Chen had kept him in the dark so well. He hadn't expected his true face to be so young. It seemed his decision to call him brother back then was indeed a bit hasty. But then he thought about it again. A 7-ring spirit saint around 30 years old was already shocking enough. Looking at Lu Chen's appearance now, he was definitely not even 20. A 7-ring spirit saint not yet 20. As Douluo Dalu thought about it, he gasped, "This is truly heaven-defying." In the entire Douluo Continent, there has never been a 7-ring spirit saint under the age of 20. For those spirit masters around 20 years old, being able to cultivate to a 4-ring spirit ancestor would already make them a dragon among men, a favored child of heaven. Douluo Dalu could understand now why Lu Chen had to disguise his appearance. If the bond between their family and Lu Chen wasn't already so deep, seeing such a young 7-ring spirit saint might have even tempted him to harbor some ill intentions. Meanwhile, Lu Chen's process of absorbing the Blue-Silver King's spirit ring continued. As time passed, the massive energy of the Blue-Silver King's spirit ring was eventually devoured and refined by Lu Chen's Blue-Silver King spirit bit by bit. Lu Chen's body, which had swollen into a ball, also returned to its original size. Currently, the position of the Blue-Silver Emperor was vacant. Lu Chen's Blue-Silver King spirit absorbed the Blue-Silver King's spirit ring, completing its own bloodline, foundation, and origin. In one fell swoop, it crossed that bottleneck and successfully ascended to the position of the Blue-Silver Emperor. Speaking of the Blue-Silver Emperor martial soul, it might not be the most powerful, but in terms of cosmetic enhancement, it is absolutely second to none. As Lu Chen was crowned emperor, under the transformation of the Blue-Silver Emperor bloodline, his appearance underwent subtle changes. His originally black long hair now turned completely blue, the same color as blue-silver grass. His features didn't change much, only undergoing some minor adjustments, but it was these tiny adjustments that increased his overall attractiveness 100-fold. His stature grew further, exceeding 190 centimeters and approaching 2 meters. Yet he wasn't overly bulky. Instead, because he was well-proportioned overall, he appeared tall and slender. If nothing else, when it comes to cosmetic enhancement, anyone who sees the Blue-Silver Emperor martial soul would have to give it a thumbs up. Chapter 58. Blue-Silver Avatar with the appearance of the new Blue-Silver Emperor. In this entire blue-silver forest, all the blue-silver grass was gently trembling, as if they were cheering or perhaps congratulating the birth of Lu Chen, the new Blue-Silver Emperor. Ever since the death of the previous generation's Blue-Silver Emperor, Yin, all the blue-silver grass on the Douluo Continent had never felt the aura of an emperor again. Now that Lu Chen had been crowned as the emperor, he immediately received the support and devotion of all the blue-silver grass. At this time, the grandfather and granddaughter duo, Douluo Dalu and Douluo Yan, were also filled with wonder as they looked at the greatly transformed Lu Chen. They were aware that a spirit would influence its user after absorbing a spirit ring. For instance, Douluo Bao and Douluo Yan's emerald green eyes were a result of their own spirit's influence. But it was quite rare to see someone like Lu Chen, whose overall appearance improved 100-fold, with every change revolving around the theme of becoming more handsome and better-looking. Douluo Bao was doing relatively fine. Although he was amazed, he wasn't deeply moved in his heart. Douluo Yan was different. She had always been someone who valued looks, and when Lu Chen had detoxified her last time, it had caused some extremely complex psychological changes in her feelings toward him. Now, seeing Lu Chen's true face and realizing he was actually so young, and even better looking after absorbing the 7th spirit ring, she was stunned. Douluo Yan's eyes were shining, and pink hearts seemed to flicker within her emerald green pupils. Some R-rated scenes flashed through her mind, deeply affecting her heart, which throbbed wildly like a startled deer. It wasn't just men who were lustful, women could be just as much. To become the object of someone's desire, the only requirement was to be beautiful enough. Right now, in a certain sense, Lu Chen was indeed beautiful enough. Suddenly, Lu Chen's eyelids fluttered, and he opened a pair of eyes that had become crystal clear and deep blue. His eyes held a hint of feeling as if a lifetime had passed. It seemed he hadn't quite recovered from the agony of absorbing the spirit ring. Although the gains from absorbing the spirit ring this time were immense, the pain experienced was 10 or even 100 times greater than his previous absorptions. Lu Chen rested for a good while before finally coming back to his senses. Pushing off the ground with his palms, he leaped to his feet. Moving his limbs slightly, a series of popping sounds like roasting beans erupted from his body, making him feel completely comfortable. At this moment, Douluo Yan suddenly stepped forward with a blossoming smile. Her eyes narrowed slightly as she said softly, "Grandpa Lan Chen, congratulations on successfully absorbing a 7th spirit ring of over 80,000 years." Hearing this, Lu Chen responded with a smile. "It was just luck. If not for the 3 immortal herbs I consumed earlier, I would have certainly failed this time, likely dying from my body exploding due to the spirit ring's energy." Hearing this, Douluo Yan's expression suddenly changed. Her blossoming smile turned frosty, and she glared at Lu Chen with murderous intent in her eyes. Clenching her delicate fist, she swung it toward him. "You actually dared to answer, you despicable bastard. You're clearly younger than me, yet you listen to me call you grandpa with a clear conscience. Ah, take this." Douluo Yan was angry, so she vented it right then and there. Hearing Douluo Yan's words, Lu Chen finally realized that the blue-silver domain's camouflage ability had somehow failed without him noticing. He thought to himself, oh no, he had been exposed to Douluo Bao and Douluo Yan. When Douluo Yan called him grandpa before, he had answered quite readily. Now that Douluo Yan had discovered the truth, he could only take whatever beating came his way. Facing Douluo Yan's incoming punch, Lu Chen gave a helpless smile. He raised his right hand and caught the swinging fist. "Yan, let me explain. I had my reasons." Douluo Yan didn't listen at all. Since her right fist was caught, she struck out with her left. Lu Chen reacted quickly. His free left hand shot out like lightning, grabbing Douluo Yan's wrist. Both of Douluo Yan's hands were now restrained, and Lu Chen's strength was so terrifying that she couldn't break free no matter how she tried. Douluo Yan's face was full of murderous intent. Although she wasn't truly furious, she had to get revenge for being made to call Lu Chen grandpa for so long. She then lashed out with her right foot, aiming straight for Lu Chen's crotch. Douluo Yan didn't realize just how much destructive power that kick carried, but Lu Chen did. Lu Chen's expression turned serious. He didn't dare let Douluo Yan's lineage-ending kick actually connect. So with a sudden burst of strength, he flipped Douluo Yan around so her back was to him, wrapped his arms around her neck and pinned her in his embrace. Lu Chen said solemnly, Yan, that kick was no joke. You can hit or scold me later and I'll take it, but you need to calm down now." Held in Lu Chen's arms, Douluo Yan felt her back pressed against a wall that was hard, solid, and radiating warmth. That warmth transferred to Douluo Yan, making her skin feel scorched. Her cheeks turned bright red and her expression became somewhat dazed. The bit of anger she had felt earlier had long since vanished into thin air. He smells so good. That was the only thought remaining in Douluo Yan's mind. After Lu Chen's blue-silver king spirit evolved into the blue-silver emperor, his entire body now radiated the aura of life. This life aura was fresh and natural, and it indeed smelled wonderful. Wrapped in this life aura, Douluo Yan felt as if she were in the middle of a forest wilderness, and her mood improved instantly. However, there was one person whose face had darkened: Douluo Bo. Douluo Bo watched Douluo Yan and Lu Chen hugging, his face as black as the bottom of a pot. He coughed violently a few times. Ahem. Cough, cough, cough. To assert his presence, hearing the coughing, Lu Chen could already imagine how furious Douluo Bo must be. He quickly released Douluo Yan, a sheepish smile on his face. Once released, Douluo Yan bit her lip and shot Lu Chen a look. There wasn't a trace of anger left, only playfulness and cuteness. Then she covered her face and walked to the side. Douluo Bo strode forward, blocking Douluo Yan from view. He glared at Lu Chen warily and quickly changed the subject. Worthy brother Lan, forget it. Looking at such a young face, I can't bring myself to call you worthy brother anymore. Lan Chen, you actually succeeded in absorbing an 80,000-year spirit ring. I congratulate you. How is the actual effect? Are you confident in assisting me to contend with the 7 treasure-glazed tile schools Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo? After a brief hesitation, Lu Chen spoke candidly. It shouldn't be an issue. This Blue-Silver King spirit ring not only evolved my spirit from Blue-Silver King to Blue-Silver Emperor, but also unlocked the most compatible martial soul avatar skill for me. After using the Blue-Silver avatar, my first 6 spirit abilities are boosted by 100%, greatly enhancing my support capabilities. It also allows me to transform into the Blue-Silver Emperor and make every Blue-Silver Emperor on the field my host body to evade enemy attacks. Combined with my domain power, I can assimilate any Blue-Silver grass into the Blue-Silver Emperor. This means that when I use my martial soul avatar within the Blue-Silver domain, I can essentially be everywhere at once. To kill me, an enemy would have to destroy all the Blue-Silver grass present. Of course, during this process, I can also accelerate the growth of the Blue-Silver grass. It's a perfect loop. Unless someone can use a large-scale attack to destroy all the Blue-Silver grass in one go, small-scale destruction won't be able to keep up with how fast I can grow it. If we encounter Sword Douluo or Bone Douluo, I'll activate my Blue-Silver avatar to hide while providing full support to Big Brother Douluo. It might be hard to truly defeat them, but I'm confident they won't be able to easily defeat you either. Additionally, my Blue-Silver domain has gained a new ability, All-Encompassing Forest, which grants me a 20% boost while reducing the enemy's strength by 20%. That's just the baseline. In places rich with Blue-Silver grass, like forests or grasslands, I can draw upon their power to further increase the buff to myself and the suppression of enemies to 30%, 50%, 80%, or even 100%. Chapter 59. Blue-Silver King Right Arm Bone Douluo. Bo listened with a shocked expression, continuously gasping in cold air. The terrifying effect of this martial soul avatar left him incredibly amazed. He sighed in his heart, truly worthy of being a spirit ring over 80,000 years old. If placed on an ordinary titled Douluo, it would be more than enough to serve as a 9th spirit ring. Now that it was placed in the 7th spirit ring position, it had fully brought out its value. Douluo Bo looked at Lu Chen meaningfully. Such a terrifying martial soul avatar skill could have been your trump card. Now that you are willing to truthfully inform us of its effects, this is a sign of your trust in us, and we will not betray that trust. Lan Chen, your disguise has been exposed. From now on, you don't need to disguise yourself in front of us, and we won't do anything to harm you. However, you must still maintain your disguise when you go outside. After all, you are too young. You look at most the same age as Yan Yan. Such a young 7-ring spirit saint, and with such heaven-defying support effects, there will be many people who do not want to see you rise. As for what you said today, after Yan Yan and I go out, we will act as if we know nothing. Your martial soul avatar and your domain ability are your trump cards for self-preservation. Do not expose them casually in the future. The purpose of this trip has been mostly achieved. If there is nothing else, we can leave now." Hearing these heartfelt words from Douluo, a smile appeared on Lu Chen's face. The effects of his martial soul avatar and his domain were his trump cards. Under normal circumstances, he would not be willing to reveal them. However, this seventh spirit ring of his was thanks to Douluo, helping him drain the Blue-Silver King's vitality, which gave him the opportunity to kill the Blue-Silver King. It was precisely because he considered this situation that Lu Chen truthfully told Douluo about the effects of his martial soul avatar. When first meeting someone, it is fine to have a certain degree of wariness. But now, since their interests were tied together, they should exchange sincerity for sincerity to further deepen their relationship. Now it seemed the effect was very good. Douluo was considering his interests everywhere. He was truly treating him as a brother and a friend. Immediately, Lu Chen turned his head to look at the remains of the Blue-Silver King and said in a low, resonant voice, "Now is not the time to leave yet. This 85,000-year-old Blue-Silver King has left behind a treasure." Hearing this, Douluo's expression became solemn. He had hunted spirit beasts more than once. The treasures spirit beasts could provide, apart from spirit rings, were spirit bones. Douluo took a deep breath. An 85,000-year-old spirit bone made even a titled Douluo like him feel a surge of heart-pounding excitement. After quite a while, Douluo suddenly turned around, pulled Douluo and walked towards the outside of the forest. As he walked, he said, "Lan Chen, Yan and I will head out first. We know nothing. After you finish handling things here, come find us outside the forest." A high-quality spirit bone was an unparalleled temptation for anyone. Douluo could not help but feel moved, but he valued Lu Chen more, so he simply decided that what the eye doesn't see, the heart doesn't grieve over. He pulled Douluo and walked towards the outside of the forest. No matter what kind of spirit bone Lu Chen unearthed, Douluo did not want to know. Only in this way could he restrain the greed in his heart. Lu Chen looked back at the retreating figures of Douluo and Douluo, his brow relaxing, and he couldn't help but admire Douluo's shrewdness in his heart. Once the figures of Douluo and Douluo completely disappeared into the forest, Lu Chen immediately ran towards the location of the Blue-Silver King's remains. He raised his hand, and his second martial soul, the Black Iron Sickle, was summoned. Holding the Black Iron Sickle, Lu Chen slashed towards the remains of the Blue-Silver King. Crack, 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 with a flurry of wood chips flying, a huge gap was slashed into the remains of the Blue-Silver King. In an instant, a brilliant blue light shone out from that gap. Seeing this, Lu Chen couldn't help but hold his breath. With an excited mood, he reached into the gap and took out a palm-sized right arm bone. The Blue-Silver King had a cultivation of 85,000 years, so the quality of this right arm bone it produced was also very high. This right arm bone was extremely complete, radiating abundant energy fluctuations and exuding a life aura that made one feel refreshed. Lu Chen's eyes lit up as he looked at it, thinking to himself, "This spirit bone is of extremely high quality, and it also comes from the Blue-Silver King." A spirit ring and spirit bone produced by the same spirit beast can only exert their maximum effect when on the same person. To me, this spirit bone is absolutely no less than a 100,000-year spirit bone. The difference between it and a 100,000-year spirit bone might just be that this one has only one skill, while a 100,000-year spirit bone has two. Let's absorb it now, lest there be complications. I hope this spirit bone brings me a good skill, preferably the Blue-Silver Overlord Spear. Then I will have a real attack skill. My original level 70 spirit power broke through to level 72 after absorbing the Blue-Silver King's spirit ring. Absorbing the Blue-Silver King's spirit bone this time will definitely bring me quite a bit of improvement. Thinking of this, Lu Chen immediately sat cross-legged and placed the Blue-Silver King right arm bone against his right arm. As he channeled his spirit power into this right arm bone, it instantly blossomed with light. Amidst the brilliant blue light, the right arm bone vaporized into countless blue air currents. Under the guidance of Lu Chen's spirit power, those countless blue air currents swarmed towards Lu Chen's right arm. Lu Chen only felt his entire right arm being enveloped by a warm energy. That energy was extremely gentle, like a trickling stream, nourishing the skin, muscles, meridians, and bones of his right arm, finally merging with his entire right arm. During this process, that energy also merged into his spirit power, causing his spirit power to rise rapidly, like taking a rocket. And the best part was that the seventh spirit ring of Lu Chen's blue-silver Emperor Martial Soul and this spirit bone both came from the same spirit beast, the blue-silver king. When he absorbed the spirit bone energy, the blue-silver king's spirit ring and spirit bone resonated, and the two energies of the same root and origin blended perfectly, making his absorption process exceptionally smooth. It took only about 5 hours for Lu Chen to absorb all the energy of this spirit bone. He opened his deep blue eyes, with a gleam of surprise dancing in them, and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Haha, as expected, absorbing the spirit ring and spirit bone together exerts the greatest effect. My spirit power has directly broken through from level 72 to level 75. I am a spirit saint, after all. A single spirit bone certainly wouldn't allow me to break through 3 levels of spirit power. It was because of the resonance between the blue-silver king's spirit ring and spirit bone that I gained immense benefits during the absorption process, breaking through 3 levels of spirit power in one go. And this skill, it certainly didn't disappoint me. Blue-silver Overlord Spear, now I finally have my own attack skill. I am originally a support soul master. Because of the binding ability of my plant spirit, I can also moonlight as a control soul master. Now with the blue-silver Overlord Spear skill, I can even moonlight as a power attack spirit master. With this, I no longer have any obvious shortcomings. Chapter 60. A distant glimpse of Saint Spirit Village. After finishing the absorption of the spirit bone, Lu Chen leaped up from the ground and glanced down at himself. The clothes and pants that had fit him perfectly were now loose and baggy. Lu Chen shook his head with a helpless smile. It seems that, when I was absorbing the spirit ring earlier, my body was bloated into a ball by the massive energy, and my clothes were ruined then. With those words, Lu Chen casually stripped off his clothes and pants, then took out a new set from his storage soul guidance device and put them on. Once he was properly dressed, it was time to reapply his disguise. The previous face definitely can't be used anymore. I need a new look this time. As for the hair, it went from black to blue before. Now let's change it from blue back to black. Immediately, Lu Chen activated his blue-silver domain, using its disguise ability to reshape his appearance. His long, deep blue hair turned as black as ink amidst a flash of light. His young and handsome face also transformed within the light, becoming an ordinary, middle-aged face that no one had ever seen before. Lu Chen was very satisfied with this. A 10-year-old 7-ring spirit saint would be enough to shock the entire continent, but a 30-year-old 7-ring spirit saint won't be nearly as eye-catching. He then scanned his surroundings. During the previous battle, these blue-silver grass subjects provided me with a lot of help. Now that my blue-silver king spirit has evolved into the blue-silver emperor spirit, I should show them some appreciation. In the next instant, his blue-silver domain rapidly expanded in all directions under the continuous infusion of his mental force. In just a few breaths, it encompassed every blade of blue-silver grass in the entire blue-silver forest, all-encompassing forest. Lu Chen murmured softly, and instantly, all the blue-silver grass in the entire blue-silver forest was forcibly assimilated into blue-silver emperors by his blue-silver domain, whether they were 10-year, 100-year, or 1,000-year blue-silver grass. At this moment, they all transformed into blue-silver emperors. As if they had consumed some ultimate tonic, they began to grow wildly, becoming taller and stronger. This assimilation was, of course, temporary. Once Lu Chen withdrew his blue-silver domain, these assimilated blue-silver emperors would instantly revert to their original forms as ordinary blue-silver grass. However, Since blue-silver grass was countless on this continent, being able to experience the feeling of becoming a blue-silver emperor in advance would be purely beneficial for their future growth and evolution. All the blue-silver emperors in the entire blue-silver forest were cheering and jumping for joy because their emperor had shown them the direction of evolution. Meanwhile, just outside the blue-silver forest, Douluo Dalu and Douluo Yan suddenly noticed that the entire blue-silver forest seemed to have come alive. Accompanied by a rustling sound, those wildly growing blue-silver vines even spread outside the forest. Seeing this, Douluo Yan became a bit nervous. "Grandpa, what is this?" Douluo Dalu, however, remained very calm. "Don't be nervous. Chen probably caused this. Perhaps he is testing his newly acquired abilities." Although Douluo Dalu spoke casually, he still led Douluo Yan a bit further away to prevent those wildly growing blue-silver vines from suddenly lashing out and hurting them. After about half an hour, those wildly growing blue-silver vines retracted into the forest one by one. Then, a strange figure walked out of the blue-silver forest. He waved at Douluo Dalu and Douluo Yan from a distance. "Big brother Douluo, Yan, don't be nervous, it's me." Looking at Chen with his new face, Douluo Dalu remarked in amazement, "Chen, your disguise ability is getting better and better. Even I can't see any flaws in your face now. If it weren't for the fact that you were the only one in this blue-silver forest, I wouldn't have believed you were Chen." Douluo Yan looked Chen up and down and immediately curled her lip. Now that Chen was sporting an ordinary middle-aged face, it didn't stir even the slightest ripple in her heart. She put her hands on her hips and spoke with a hint of regret. "Chen, we've already seen your true face. Why do you still need to wear a disguise in front of us?" Now, Douluo Yan no longer called him Grandpa Chen, but simply Chen. Chen smiled faintly and said, "An ordinary man is innocent, but treasuring a jade ring becomes a crime. My talent is my original sin. Big brother Douluo, Yan, it's enough that you know my true appearance. As I travel the continent in the future, changing my identity will be a necessity." Douluo Dalu stood with his hands behind his back, exuding the aura of a powerful expert. With a sharp glint in his eyes, he said, "It's right to be cautious, but there's no need to be overly timid. Now that you are a support spirit saint, with your assistance, I am confident I can hold my own against most titled Douluo on the continent. On the way back, we can be perfectly open about it. Even if we lure out the 7 treasure-glazed tile schools Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo, at worst, we'll just fight them. It's high time they learned that I, Douluo Dalu, am not one to be trifled with." While they were talking, Douluo Dalu grabbed Chen with one hand and Douluo Yan with the other. With a flicker of his body, he soared directly into the air and flew rapidly toward the distant horizon. The blue-silver forest was located in the border mountain range, which wasn't actually far from Nuoding City. Under Chen's guidance, Douluo Dalu flew near Nuoding City and landed on a mountain not far from Saint Spirit Village. Douluo Dalu asked curiously, "Chen, is there anything unusual nearby? It's actually worth a special stop for you." Chen didn't answer. He closed his eyes and released his blue-silver domain, spreading it toward Saint Spirit Village. In an instant, all the blue-silver grass within the blue-silver domain became his eyes and ears. Through the perspective of these blue-silver grass, Chen saw his parents and the village chief, Old Jack. His parents and Old Jack all seemed to be doing well. Chen felt relieved. In truth, Chen really wanted to go back and visit, but reason told him that doing so now would likely lead to his death. He currently lacked the strength to face Tang Hao head-on, and as luck would have it, his blue-silver grass spirit had evolved into the blue-silver emperor spirit. Once Tang Hao noticed, he would undoubtedly come to kill him to keep the secret. While Douluo Dalu would certainly protect him, whether Douluo Dalu could actually contend with Tang Hao remained a question mark. On the Douluo Continent, anyone with the surname Tang could not be judged by common logic. First, there was Tang San, who later held the god positions of 2 gods, the sea god and the Asura god, becoming the god king of the god realm and even turning the Douluo Continent into his personal backyard. Then there was Tang San's father, Tang Hao, who became a titled Douluo at only 44 years old, hailed as the youngest titled Douluo on the Douluo Continent. Tang Hao's growth was also quite bizarre. He ventured through the Slaughter City, visited Sea God Island, earned the title of Divine Craftsman in the Blacksmith Association, and even had a love triangle with Tang Xiao and Ah Yin. Despite being quite distracted, his cultivation speed still surpassed the entire continent. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say he was the child of luck of the Douluo Continent before Tang San. Therefore, although Lu Chen hated Tang Hao, he did not dare to underestimate him. He wanted to kill Tang Hao and make him suffer the most cruel torture in the world, but everything had to wait until he possessed sufficient strength. Additionally, before Tang San and Tang Hao, there was another Tang Chen on the Douluo Continent, who was also a formidable figure. The Douluo Continent had three limit Douluos: the angel Douluo Qian Dalu, the sea god Douluo High Priestess Bo Saixi, and the clear sky Douluo Tang Chen. Qian Dalu and High Priestess Bo Saixi were both god servants who had received benefits from divinities to reach the rank of limit Douluo. But Tang Chen had reached the rank of limit Douluo relying solely on a clear sky hammer. Thus, if Lu Chen wanted revenge, he had to plan for the long term. Chapter 61. The Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School Trio not daring to return to St. Spirit Village, only daring to take a distant look to confirm that his parents and old Jack were all doing well. Lu Chen left once again with Dugu Bo and Dugu Yan. In fact, Dugu Bo and Dugu Yan were very curious about what kind of place that was, that Lu Chen would go out of his way to see it. However, since Lu Chen did not want to say, Dugu Bo and Dugu Yan did not ask any further. Then, the three of them headed north, retracing their original path. When they first came, they were cautious the entire way, fearing that exposing their tracks would attract pursuit from the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School. Now that they were returning, although they were not overly conspicuous, they were no longer as cautious because they now had the confidence. During their travel, Dugu Bo would still carry Lu Chen and Dugu Yan as they flew through the sky. However, when it was time to eat or sleep, as long as there was a city nearby, they would not stop in the wilderness. After 2 days, they returned to the north of Jiling Pass, not far from the Sunset Forest. However, just at this moment, the unexpected happened as expected. In the clear, cloudless sky, a spatial rift suddenly split open. Then the spatial rift grew larger and larger, gradually opening an eighth spirit ability, Space Gate. The next instant, 3 figures emerged one after another from that eighth spirit ability, Space Gate. 2 of them were Ning Fengzhai and Gu Rong, whom Lu Chen had already met. The remaining person had a cold expression and sharp eyes, with white hair draped behind his head. Although his face was quite aged, one could vaguely see the handsomeness of his youth, and his posture was as upright as a drawn sword. There was no need for an introduction. Lu Chen could already guess who this person was: Sword Dao Chenzin, Ning Fengzhai, Gu Rong, and Chen Xin. The Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School Trio had actually come together, blocking their path. They had come with ill intent. When Dugu Bo saw the 3 of them, his heart tightened at first. It would be a lie to say he felt no pressure. But thinking of Lu Chen's terrifying supportability, Dugu Bo's heart gradually calmed down. There was even a hint of eagerness on his face. In the past, Dugu Bo only had rank 91 spirit power and was always called the weakest, titled Douluo, in the circle of titled Douluo. His fierce reputation mainly spread among low-rank spirit masters. Those high-rank spirit masters all dared to speak loudly to Dugu Bo. This was blatant contempt for him, and he couldn't even refute it. A single chrysanthemum Douluo Yu Guan from the Spirit Hall could beat Dugu Bo until he fled in a sorry state. If it hadn't been for Prince Zhu Xing bringing an army to help, Dugu Bo would certainly have been in grave danger. That was what had already happened. Let's talk about what hadn't happened yet. In the original plot, Prince Zhu Xing invited Dugu Bo to drive away the people from Shrek Academy at the Heavendu Imperial Academy. The 3 committee members of the Heavendu Imperial Academy, committee member Meng Shenji, committee member Bai Baoshan, and committee member Zhai Lin, were merely 3 spirit Douluo, yet they dared to challenge Douluo Bo. If he couldn't even suppress 3 spirit Douluo, Douluo Bo's true strength, among titled Douluo, truly belonged to the lowest tier. As for the 2 sword and bone Douluo of the 7 treasure glazed tile school, sword Douluo had rank 96 spirit power and was hailed as the sharpest spear of the 7 treasure glazed tile school, while bone Douluo had rank 95 spirit power and was hailed as the strongest shield of the 7 treasure glazed tile school. The greatest achievement of these 2 was in the future spirit hunting operation, where, facing the siege of 4 titled Douluo from the spirit hall, they not only repelled the opponents, but also severely injured 3 of them. With this kind of solid strength, they were top tier throughout the entire Douluo Continent, with the 2 of them joining forces, plus the support of Ning Fengjai. If it were the original Douluo Bo, he probably wouldn't even have had a chance to escape with his life. However, the past was the past. The present is the present. Douluo Bo was no longer the same as before. He looked down upon Ning Fengjai, Chen and Gu Rong with full divine Kai and asked knowingly, "Schoolmaster Ning, sword Douluo, bone Douluo, you 3 are blocking our way. What is it that you want to do?" Seeing Douluo Bo's arrogant appearance, Gu Rong instinctively wanted to mock him a few times. However, Ning Fengjai waved his hand, causing the mockery that was about to escape Gu Rong's lips to be swallowed back. Ning Fengjai appeared gentle as jade on the surface, and even though his heart was filled with killing intent, his face still carried a faint smile. "Your Excellency Jade Phosphor, the purpose of our coming here has nothing to do with you and your granddaughter. We just want to invite Mr. Chen to visit our 7 treasure glazed tile school so that we can properly exchange insights on being a support soul master. If both sides have a pleasant conversation, I also intend to invite Mr. Chen to reside permanently at our 7 treasure glazed tile school." Speaking of this, Ning Fengjai's gaze turned to Lu Chen, who had once again changed his appearance. He frowned slightly, turned to look at Gu Rong and said, "Uncle Bone, this person's face looks unfamiliar. Is he really Chen?" Gu Rong's deep-set eyes stared fixedly at Lu Chen's brand-new appearance. After careful identification, he finally nodded and said with absolute certainty, "That's right, it's him. Although his appearance is different, his aura is more or less the same." Only then did Ning Fengjai breathe a sigh of relief. He had personally brought Gu Rong and Chen Xin out to intercept someone. If he had dragged an imposter back, he would have become a laughingstock. Ning Fengjai looked at Douluo Bo again. Although his tone was still very gentle, it revealed an unquestionable quality. "I ask Your Excellency Jade Phosphor to make it convenient for us. In the future, whether it is you or your granddaughter, if there is any place where you need our 7 treasure glazed tile school, our 7 treasure glazed tile school will definitely not shirk our duty." Although they hadn't torn off their masks, Ning Fengjai's malice toward Lu Chen was already clearly revealed. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share infinite novel audio. Douluo Bo did not hesitate at all. He firmly rejected Ning Fengjai's proposal. "Ning Fengjai, let's speak plainly. My brother Chen will absolutely not go to the 7 treasure glazed tile school with you. If you leave now, I will pretend that I haven't seen you today. If you persist in your stubbornness and are determined to harm my brother Chen, then you must first get past me. It just so happens that my strength has improved quite a bit recently, so I will use you, the sword and bone Douluo of the 7 treasure glazed tile school, to practice." Hearing this, Ning Fengjai's eyes immediately darkened, and he secretly cursed him for being ungrateful. Afterward, his face was devoid of any expression, and he said in a flat tone, "That is truly a pity. It seems we have no choice but to forcibly invite Mr. Chen to visit the 7 treasure glazed tile school. Uncle Sword, I know you have always disliked these kinds of things, so you will be responsible for holding back Your Excellency Jade Phosphor. As for Mr. Chen, Uncle Bone will bring him back to the sect." Chen Xin nodded slightly. He knew about some things in the sect, but as long as it was beneficial to the sect, although he would not do it himself, he would not stop it either. Just like this time, Ning Fengjai had dragged him and Gurong out. Although he was somewhat resistant in his heart, he did not directly refuse. As for holding back Douluo Bo, that was simply a piece of cake. Gurong also nodded with a sinister grin. In the 7-treasure glazed tile school, he had always been the one responsible for doing the dirty work. There were at least 80, if not 100, genius spirit masters killed by him. This time, in his opinion, Lan Chen would undoubtedly die. The only question was whether or not to kill Douluo Bo and Douluo Yan while they were at it, to avoid leaving any hidden dangers. Facing the aggressive 7-treasure glazed tile school trio, Lu Chen made a mental note of them, preparing to take revenge later. But for now, he said very calmly, "Brother Douluo, let's land in the forest. That is the most suitable battlefield for us." Douluo Bo responded and immediately flew towards the forest, and the 7-treasure glazed tile school trio opposite them followed closely behind, flying towards the forest together. Chapter 62. The formidable myriad swords return to Origin's swish. With a sound of breaking air, Douluo Bo, carrying Lu Chen and Douluo Yan, charged into the forest below. At this instant, Lu Chen activated his blue-silver domain, and an invisible ripple rapidly spread out from him as the center in all directions. In just a few breaths, it enveloped an area of over 10 kilometers in radius. The vegetation in this forest was lush, and naturally, blue-silver grass was indispensable. Plants with such tenacious vitality like blue-silver grass could take root upon touching soil, sprout upon touching water, and grow upon touching sunlight. On the continent, apart from deserts and go-by, it could truly be called ubiquitous. Lu Chen chanted in his heart, all-encompassing forest. In an instant, all the blue-silver grass covered by the blue-silver domain was forcibly assimilated into blue-silver emperor by the blue-silver domain. Stalk after stalk of crystalline blue-silver emperor, marked with golden patterns, rose from the ground all over the forest. Countless blue-silver vines, like winding and coiling pythons, bared their fangs and brandished their claws, poised and ready to pounce on the enemy at any moment. An ordinary forest, under the power of the blue-silver domain, was assimilated in the blink of an eye into a crisis-ridden blue-silver forest. Ning Fengjai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong, who were chasing after Douluo Bo, Lu Chen, and Douluo Yan, rushed into the forest. In an instant, their expressions changed. They felt as if this entire forest had become their enemy, pressing down upon them. It made their bodies exceptionally heavy, and even the spirit power circulating at high speed within their meridians slowed to a crawl. Their overall strength was suppressed by about 40%. The all-encompassing forest of the blue-silver domain had a base amplification and suppression effect of 20%, but with the support of all the blue-silver grass in this forest, the actual effect of its amplification and suppression reached 40%. Ning Fengjai's face was filled with disbelief, then he gritted his teeth, his killing intent exposed. This is the power of a domain, to have such a powerful suppression effect with just a domain alone. If Lan Chen does not die, I will not be at peace. Uncle Sword, Uncle Bone, can you break this domain? Domain. Normally, this was a special ability that a spirit master might only awaken after absorbing their 9th spirit ring and becoming a titled Douluo. Among the two titled Douluo, Sword and Bone, only Sword Douluo Chenzin possessed that special domain ability. At this moment, Gu Rong remained silent. Chenzin spoke in a low voice. My 7-kill domain might be able to break free from this special domain, but once the 7-kill domain is released, it does not distinguish between friend and foe and will attack you all as well. Just as they were speaking, thick blue-silver vines, like snakes and pythons, darted out from all over the forest, binding towards Ning Fengjai, Gu Rong, and Chen Xin. Seeing this, Ning Fengjai summoned his 7-treasure glazed tile pagoda spirit while speaking urgently. Uncle Sword, I will amplify you. Don't worry about us for now. Focus all your efforts on destroying these plants. 7 treasures turn out glazed tiles. The 2nd is agility. The 5th is attack. The 6th is attribute. In front of Ning Fengjai, a 7-story glazed pagoda appeared out of thin air. The next instant, 3 dazzling rays of light flew out from the glazed pagoda and landed on Chen Xin one after another. The first ray of light amplified Chen Xin's agility by 80%, the second ray amplified his attack by 80%, and the third ray amplified his sword Kai attribute by 80%. For Chen Xin, the amplification of these 3 attributes was enough to double his strength. However, he was still under the blue-silver domain, and the 40% suppression of his strength still prevented him from exerting his full power. The next instant, a black and white light erupted from Chen Xin's body. Relying on its tyrannical and overbearing power, he forcibly propped up an area within the blue-silver domain that was not suppressed by it. This area was about 100 meters in size, forming a black and white Taiji pattern. The black area was filled with incomparably sharp sword Kai, and the white area was filled with incomparably chilling killing intent. And this was the 7-kill domain. Within this 7-kill domain, Chen Xin finally felt his body relax, breaking free from the suppression brought by the blue-silver domain. At the same time, those blue-silver vines that entered the 7-kill domain were met with fierce resistance from the 7-kill domain. The black sword Kai and the white killing intent blended together, instantly condensing into streaks of black and white 7-kill sword Kai. Dozens, hundreds of streaks of 7-kill sword Kai formed an impenetrable defense of sword Kai, instantly slicing the dense blue-silver vines into pieces. Of course, as Chen Xin said, the attacks of the 7-kill domain did not distinguish between friend and foe. Some of those black and white 7-kill sword Kai also struck towards Ning Fengzhai and Gu Rong. Seeing this, Gu Rong stepped in front of Ning Fengzhai and, relying on his terrifying defensive ability, blocked that portion of the 7-kill sword Kai. The sword Kai tore his robes, but could not leave a mark on his body. Although it couldn't break his defense, it still made Gu Rong grimace in pain. This old guy, his sword Kai is still so sharp. The domain he awakened is truly troublesome. It can't even distinguish between friend and foe. At this moment, Chen Xin had no time to pay attention to Gu Rong. He grabbed forward with his palm, and a silver-white giant sword, about 2 meters long and half a foot wide, was summoned out of thin air. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 black. 9 spirit rings rose one after another beneath his feet. That silver-white giant sword was his spirit, the 7-kill sword. Known as the spirit with the #1 attack power on the continent, Chen Xin's sharp eyes swept across the surrounding forest, attempting to capture the aura of Lu Chen, Douluo Dalu, and Douluo Yan. Lu Chen's aura, because of the blue-silver domain, had almost merged with the entire forest, making it impossible to detect. However, the auras of Douluo Dalu and Douluo Yan were not as easy to hide. Under Chen Xin's tracking, he quickly captured Douluo Dalu's massive and cold aura. Found you. 6th spirit ability, Myriad Swords Return to Origin. Chen Xin went all out, unleashing his 10,000-year 6th spirit ability. He raised the 7-kill sword in his hand high towards the sky, and as his 6th spirit ring lit up with light, his spirit power was continuously released, condensing one 7-kill sword after another in the sky, each 7-kill sword flickering with a chilling light. Later on, the entire sky was covered with 7-kill swords, dense and numerous, numbering fully 10,000. Chen Xin's white hair fluttered in the wind, his gaze like lightning as he looked in the direction from which Douluo Dalu's aura came, gripping the 7-kill sword in his hand and waving it forward. Go, as Chen Xin spat out the word go. The 10,007 kill swords in the sky poured down like a torrential rain of swords, raging forward. Crack, crack, crack. These 10,007 kill swords destroyed everything in their path. Whether it was other plants or the assimilated blue-silver emperor, all were torn to shreds. The level of intensity of its attack power was enough to make anyone shudder with fear. Sword Douluo Chen Xin, with level 96 spirit power, under the amplification of Ning Fengzhai, was enough to rival a titled Douluo with level 97 spirit power. Chapter 63. The battle between Sword Douluo and Poison Douluo in the forest, tens of thousands of 7-kill swords, descended from the sky like a torrential downpour, tearing apart everything in their path. In the blink of an eye, the overwhelming 7-kill swords had already pierced toward the hiding spot of Lu Chen, Douluo Dalu, and Douluo Yan. Fortunately, Lu Chen had prepared in advance, casting blue-silver protection ahead of time to raise a blue barrier half a foot thick in front of them. The sharpness of the 7-kill sword was indeed difficult to block. With a sharp crack, the first 7-kill sword pierced deep into the blue barrier. Then came the second, the third. In just 3 breaths of time, at least 107-kill swords had pierced the blue barrier from every angle. Crack, crack, the blue barrier, unable to bear the weight, shattered with fine spiderweb-like cracks, clearly on the verge of collapsing. Seeing this, Lu Chen, Douluo Dalu, and Douluo Yan quickly flashed away from the location. The next instant, the blue barrier completely shattered, and the spot where Lu Chen, Douluo Dalu, and Douluo Yan had originally stood was now filled with 7-kill swords. If they hadn't dodged in time, they would surely have been minced into meat paste by the 7-kill swords by now. Seeing this from afar, Lu Chen exclaimed in astonishment, "What a terrifying attack! This 7-kill sword spirit is truly worthy of being called the spirit, with the #1 attack power on the continent." Douluo Dalu's muscles were tense, his face showing a hint of eagerness. He summoned his spirit possession, and 9 spirit rings, yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 rose up beneath his feet. He spoke with an excited tone, "Lan Chen, give me a boost and take good care of Yan Yan. I'm going to go have a go at this Chen Zin." In the past, with my level 91 spirit power, I always had to retreat whenever I faced Chen Zin. This is a good opportunity to let me see the gap between myself and Chen Zin. Lu Chen nodded in agreement. Constantly hiding was indeed not a solution. When it was time to retaliate, one had to retaliate. Otherwise, others would always think they were easy to bully. Group Blue-Silver Blessing. Lu Chen cast Group Blue-Silver Blessing. All the blue-silver emperors in this forest radiated light, gathering a massive amount of life force and pouring it into Douluo Dalu's body. Boom. A terrifying aura erupted from within Douluo Dalu's body. That tangible, terrifying pressure formed ripples of energy that spread outward with Douluo Dalu as the center. Unfortunately, in this forest, neither the quantity nor the quality of the blue-silver grass compared to the blue-silver forest, so the all-attribute boost effect of the group Blue-Silver Blessing was only 200%. But this was enough. Although Douluo Dalu only had level 93 spirit power, under the 200% all-attribute boost, his aura was completely on par with Chen Zin's. Douluo Dalu instantly soared into the air, flying to a height of about 50 meters above the ground. This was roughly the limit of the blue-silver domain. Any higher and he would be out of range. He spoke loudly, "Chen Zin, they all say you are the titled Douluo with the #1 attack power on the continent. Today, let me have a go at you. Let's fight in the sky." Seeing Douluo Dalu take to the air, Chen Zin looked back at Ning Fengzhai and saw him nod. Chen Zin then walked through the air, flying to the same height as Douluo Dalu in the blink of an eye. With one hand behind his back and the other holding his sword, his eyes sharp as a hawk's, he stared intently at the Douluo Dalu opposite him. "Douluo Dalu, you truly surprise me now. According to the information I have, your spirit power should only be level 91. Now it seems your spirit power is far beyond level 91, and your current aura is actually on par with mine. I am quite curious. What kind of terrifying boosting spirit ability could forcibly elevate you to the same level as me?" This was a very cutting remark, clearly implying that if it weren't for Lan Chen's boost, Douluo Dalu would have no qualifications to be mentioned in the same breath as Chen Zin. Chen Zin indeed had the ability to be proud, if not for the fact that his 7-kill domain was needed to counteract the suppression of the blue-silver domain. With just the 7-kill domain alone, Chen Zin could suppress Douluo Dalu in every aspect. As titled Douluos, having a domain ability or not having one made a world of difference. Douluo Dalu stared at Chen Zin with gloomy eyes, speaking with a forced smile. "What a Chen Zin, what a sword Douluo. Your words are certainly tough. Every word you say shows you don't take me seriously at all. Today, I will prove to you that I am no longer the person I used to be. First spirit ability, Jade Phosphor Poison Fire. Spirit abilities over 10,000 years old were all life or death killing moves. Even a titled Douluo would not start a fight by using their killing moves. Therefore, battles between titled Douluos began with century-level or millennium-level spirit abilities to probe and look for weaknesses. With a wave of his hand, Douluo condensed dozens of jade-green flames, glowing green like will-o'-the-wisps. Under his control, these dozens of jade-green flames smashed toward Chen in unison. Seeing this, Chen did not dodge or evade. He raised his left hand, brought his fingers together into a sword gesture, and tapped his 7-kill sword. Second spirit ability, Spirit Sword Protection. In an instant, the 7-kill sword poured out a massive amount of sword kai, which surrounded Chen Xin's body, forming a spherical protective shield. The smashing jade-green flames were all blocked by the spherical shield. A mere century-level spirit ability could not harm Chen Xin in the slightest. The next moment, Chen Xin lifted his foot and his figure flashed out rapidly. With the 80% agility boost given by Ning Fengzhai, his movement speed was shockingly fast, and in the blink of an eye, he arrived before Douluo. First spirit ability, Long Sword Sharpens. Chen Xin swung his sword to strike. Under the 30% attack boost, his 7-kill sword flashed with a chilling light, making Douluo feel a chill run through his entire body. Douluo retreated rapidly, dodging the incoming sword blade while simultaneously making a quick response. Second spirit ability, Red Refined Iron Python Constriction. He spread his arms, and his hands rapidly transformed, manifesting 2 red-refined iron pythons with gaping, bloodthirsty maws. The bodies of the red-refined iron pythons were harder than steel, and their venom could take a person's life in just a few breaths. Douluo revealed a vicious smile. The 2 red-refined iron pythons, manifested by his hands, bypassed the blade of the 7-kill sword, one biting toward Chen Xin's wrist, the other toward Chen Xin's neck. Now it was up to Chen Xin to choose whether to protect his wrist or his neck. Chen Xin's gaze was like lightning. Faced with these 2 choices, he actually made a third choice. He abandoned his sword. Chen Xin's palm released the hilt of the 7-kill sword. Facing the 2 red-refined iron pythons biting from left and right, his figure retreated rapidly. Third spirit ability, Sword Wings Fly. In an instant, the 7-kill sword, released from the hilt, trembled. Then, without anyone holding it, it slashed first at the red-refined iron python on the left, then at the red-refined iron python on the right. The sharpness of the 7-kill sword was indeed difficult to block. Both red-refined iron pythons had their heads severed by the 7-kill sword and dissipated into a cloud of smoke. Douluo gasped in pain. With the red-refined iron pythons severed one by one, his hands returned to their original form. Facing the 7-kill sword with its blade aimed at him once again, Douluo had no choice but to temporarily avoid its edge. Fourth spirit ability, Jade Phosphor Bewitching Array. Third spirit ability, Corrosive Black Witch Snake. In an instant, a large amount of jade-green poisonous mist permeated from beneath Douluo's robes. The poisonous mist spread rapidly, not only obscuring people's vision, but even preventing mental force from penetrating this layer of mist. Chen Xin controlled the 7-kill sword from a distance, hacking wildly, but unfortunately, he did not strike Douluo. Just then, a black giant python, fully over 8 meters long, opened a bloodthirsty maw that exuded a foul stench and bit toward Chen Xin's position. Seeing this, Chen Xin flicked his finger. Immediately, the 7-kill sword flew out from the poisonous mist, striking after but arriving first, quickly catching up to the 8-meter-long black giant python. Fourth spirit ability, Sword Shadows Layered. In an instant, countless sword kai erupted from the 7-kill sword, forming a vortex of sword kai that engulfed the black giant python, tearing it to shreds in a moment. Throughout the entire exchange just now, although the time was not very long, both sides had used multiple spirit abilities. The two went back and forth, fighting to a standstill. Without using 10,000-year spirit abilities, Chen Xin and Douluo Dalu, these two titled Douluos, truly couldn't defeat one another. Chapter 64. Gu Rong attacks high in the sky. The battle between Sword Douluo and Poison Douluo continued. But on the ground, with Sword Douluo's departure, the 7-kill domain dissipated, and the 40% suppression effect of the blue-silver domain fell upon Ning Fengzhai and Gu Rong once again. Not only that, under Lu Chen's control, countless blue-silver vines shot out from all directions, like snakes and pythons, winding toward Ning Fengzhai and Gu Rong. As a support soul master, Ning Fengzhai had no offensive or defensive capabilities, so he could only frown and hide behind Gu Rong. "Uncle Bone, I'll leave this to you." Gu Rong nodded upon hearing this. Withstanding the 40% suppression effect, he activated martial soul possession. His stature suddenly shot up, his frame becoming much broader, but his skin and muscles did not grow along with it. He was purely a more exaggerated skeleton. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 9 spirit rings rose beneath his feet, and a heart-palpitating aura of darkness suddenly erupted from within him. Facing the blue-silver vines shooting out from all directions, Gu Rong looked disdainful and snorted coldly. "Some pathetic plants, watch me tear you to shreds." Third spirit ability, Bone Dragon Deterrence. As his third spirit ring lit up, Gu Rong opened his mouth and let out a roar. In an instant, a tangible wave of sonic energy shot out from his throat. Bang, 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 bang. The sonic wave swept through the area, and those encroaching blue-silver vines exploded one after another under the immense pressure. Titled Douluo are indeed terrifying. Gu Rong was a super Douluo with 95-level spirit power. Even just a 1,000-year third spirit ability displayed overwhelming power. The blue-silver vines that Lu Chen catalyzed were essentially no different from paper. However, for Lu Chen, catalyzing some blue-silver vines didn't cost much spirit power at all. He could just wear Gu Rong down and see who could hold out until the end. With a thought, Lu Chen catalyzed more blue-silver vines through the blue-silver domain, surrounding Ning Fengzhai and Gu Rong from all directions. Thus, Ning Fengzhai and Gu Rong could see that, just after destroying a large pile of blue-silver vines, in the blink of an eye, another large pile shot out. Seeing this, Gu Rong put away the disdainful expression on his face. He already felt that something was not quite right. He then used Bone Dragon Deterrence twice more. Sure enough, just as he destroyed a large pile of vines in front, more vines grew out behind him. These vines were simply endless. Just as he destroyed one batch, another would emerge. If he were to use a 10,000-year spirit ability to deal with endless vines, it would really not be worth the cost. But if this continued, even if he were a titled Douluo, he would sooner or later exhaust his spirit power. Gu Rong suddenly said in a deep voice, "Fengzhai, get on my back. We'll go into the forest and catch Lan Chen. To catch the bandits, one must first catch the ringleader. If we don't catch that guy, these vines will never end." Ning Fengzhai also understood the severity of the situation. Without a word, he jumped onto Gu Rong's back and said, "Uncle Bone, Lan Chen is just a support soul master. Besides these vines being quite annoying, he has no other means. I won't give you any buffs. Save the spirit power and use it all to support Uncle's sword. As long as he can defeat Douluo Dalu, there won't be any more trouble today." Gu Rong did not object. Carrying Ning Fengzhai, he charged toward the forest, releasing his mental force to fully sense the location of Lu Chen and Douluo Yan. Lu Chen's aura had long since merged with the entire forest within the blue-silver domain. However, Douluo Yan's aura still faintly emanated. Relying on this faint aura, Gu Rong not only found Douluo Yan but also followed the trail to find Lu Chen. He grinned, his face ferocious. "I've found you." Then, like a humanoid spirit beast, Gu Rong rampaged through the forest. Any plant that blocked his path was either smashed by his first spirit ability, Bone Dragon Thrust, or shattered by his third spirit ability, Bone Dragon Deterrence. After Lu Chen perceived this scene, a dismissive smile curled at the corner of his mouth. "Then come and try to see if you can catch me in this forest." Yan Yan, let's go. As he finished speaking, Lu Chen wrapped his arm around Douluo Yan's waist and leaped toward the depths of the forest. Douluo Yan, whose waist was being held, first tensed up, but then gradually relaxed. She then looked up at Lu Chen, and seeing that middle-aged face that aroused no desire in anyone, she couldn't help but pout. Then Douluo Yan closed her eyes. She fully unleashed her imagination, picturing herself being held in the arms of Lu Chen with his true appearance revealed. With this imagination, a faint, imperceptible sweet smile curled at the corner of Douluo Yan's mouth. Being held by a handsome man versus being held by an ugly man. The feeling was completely different. Returning to Lu Chen, he held Douluo Yan's waist, leaping toward the depths of the forest while catalyzing more blue-silver vines. He manipulated these blue-silver vines to constantly delay Gu Rong's forward speed. Facing these dense blue-silver vines, even if Gu Rong destroyed them quickly, it still took a certain amount of time. Gu Rong's forward speed was greatly delayed. Several times, he had already seen the figures of Lu Chen and Douluo Yan, but after being blocked by the dense blue-silver vines, their figures would once again disappear from his sight. Gu Rong was so angry he wanted to hit someone, but he could only vent his frustration on the blue-silver vines blocking his path. Coupled with the 40% suppression effect of the blue-silver domain, Gu Rong was now like someone trapped in a quagmire. Despite having all that strength, he simply couldn't unleash it. Ning Fengzhai, carried on Gu Rong's back, had wisdom flashing in his eyes as he constantly pondered a way to break the deadlock. In his view, Bone Douluo was not suitable for dealing with Lan Chen because Lan Chen was slippery. Bone Douluo was strong in strength and defense, but simply could not catch the slippery Lan Chen. To deal with Lan Chen, it still required Chen Xin to make a move. But Chen Xin was held back by Douluo Bo. Now, to break the deadlock, they could only help Chen Xin defeat Douluo Bo sooner. Thinking of this, Ning Fengzhai looked up at the sky. He saw that in the sky, the battle between Chen Xin and Douluo Bo was no longer limited to probing. Both had brought out their real skills. Both had activated their martial soul avatar, which meant their battle had entered a white-hot stage. Chen Xin controlled a 40-meter-long giant sword, constantly chasing and slashing at a 50-meter-long jade phosphorus giant python in the sky. That jade phosphorus giant python was also thick-skinned. Under the giant sword's repeated attacks, it only left some faint marks on its body, and it hadn't even sustained a single wound. This was due to several factors. First, Douluo Bo's Jade Phosphor Serpent Spirit had evolved into the Jade Phosphorus Serpent Ancestor Spirit after eating the Earth Dragon Golden Melon, and it had gained a second attribute, the Earth Attribute, which greatly increased his defensive capabilities. Second was Lu Chen's group Blue-Silver Blessing, which gave Douluo Bo a 200% boost to all attributes, including a 200% defense boost. In the state of the Jade Phosphorus Giant Python, Douluo Bo's defensive capability had reached the top tier. For Chen Xin to break his defense, it was not such a simple matter. Ning Fengzhai thought to himself, "It seems I can only use the 7 Treasures avatar to strengthen the buff effect by 50% and reduce spirit power consumption by 50%. So Uncle Sword can defeat Douluo Bo sooner and change this situation." Chapter 65, Crushing Support Capability. 7th Spirit Ability, 7th Spirit Ability, 7 Treasures True Body. Since Ning Fengzhai had made his decision, he executed it immediately. As his 7th Spirit Ring lit up, Ning Fengzhai activated the 7th Spirit Ability. 7 Treasures True Body, and the 7-layered glazed pagoda above his head burst with dazzling 7-colored light. 7th Spirit Ability. 7 Treasures True Body increases the effects of the first 6 spirit abilities by 50% and reduces the spirit power consumption of using spirit abilities by 50%. In an instant, 3 rays of light shot out from the 7-treasure glazed tile pagoda and entered Chen Xin's body in the sky. The 3 major buffs originally applied to Chen Xin were all increased by 50%. The 80% agility boost increased to 120%. the 80% attack boost increased to 120%. The 80% Sword Kai attribute boost increased to 120%. Chen Xin's already incredibly powerful aura surged once again at this moment, directly crushing Douluo Dalu opposite him. Feeling the massive boost, Chen Xin understood that Ning Fengzhai was urging him to finish off Douluo Dalu as quickly as possible, and he didn't hesitate to show his true capabilities. 8th Spirit Ability, moving mountains and filling seas, as his 8th Spirit Ring lit up. The spirit power in Chen Xin's body continuously poured into that 40-meter-long giant sword. The giant sword stretched across the sky and earth, trembling slightly and emitting a chilling cold light as it quickly split into 12 giant sword shadows of equal size. Each giant sword shadow possessed 80% of the attack power of the original giant sword, just like the name of this spirit ability, 8th Spirit Ability. Moving mountains and filling seas, these 12 giant sword shadows indeed possess the terrifying power to move mountains and fill seas. At the same time, Douluo Dalu also received a further boost from Lu Chen. As Ning Fengzhai activated the 7th Spirit Ability, 7 Treasures True Body, Lu Chen also activated the Blue-Silver Avatar. 7th Spirit Ability, Blue-Silver Avatar. Lu Chen's 7th Spirit Ring came from an 85,000-year-old Blue-Silver King. This deep black spirit ring shone with a light that seemed to devour everything like the dark night. His body quickly became translucent, his surface a clear azure blue with golden patterns crawling all over, making him look like a humanoid blue-silver emperor. This was the effect of the blue-silver avatar, allowing Lu Chen to transform into the blue-silver emperor and providing a 100% boost to his first 6 spirit abilities. Lu Chen once again condensed a massive amount of life force and sent it into Douluo Dalu's body in the sky. The mass blue-silver blessing gave Douluo Dalu a 200% boost to all attributes. Now that the boost effect had increased by another 100%, it raised the total boost to 400% in one go. Under the terrifying 400% boost, the jade phosphorus giant python that Douluo Dalu had transformed into emitted a terrifying pressure like that of a vicious beast. The terrifying power surging wildly within his body even briefly overwhelmed Douluo Dalu's will, turning him into a beast that only wanted to wreak havoc and slaughter madly. This shocking scene also made Chen Xin feel a tightening in his heart. He pressed his fingers together into a sword gesture, pointed forward, and said, "Go." In an instant, that 40-meter giant sword, along with the 12 giant sword shadows, tore through the sky and charged toward the jade phosphorus giant python to kill. The jade phosphorus giant python let out heavy breaths, its voice sounding like exploding thunder. 8th Spirit Ability, Time Solidification. In an instant, a gray light erupted from within the jade phosphorus giant python. That gray light was formless and shapeless. Wherever it passed, space immediately solidified, and the 40-meter giant sword, along with the 12 giant sword shadows of equal size, were all frozen in space. Not only those, but Chen Xin as well. He was also frozen in space along with them. Now he was like an insect in amber. Except for his consciousness, his body could no longer move. Chen Xin thought to himself that things were bad and fully activated the 7-kill domain, trying to break through this confinement. Unfortunately, the blue-silver domain firmly suppressed the 7-kill domain, the two restraining each other and giving the 7-kill domain no chance to show its power. This was a forest where blue-silver grass was everywhere. The blue-silver domain had the home field advantage, and the 7-kill domain's advantage was infinitely diminished. The jade phosphorus giant python panted heavily. The spirit power in his body was now like a flood bursting through a dam, pouring out uncontrollably. Time Solidification's consumption was truly too great, especially since the object being confined was Chen Xin, who was also performing his 8th Spirit Ability. It was thanks to Lu Chen's 400% boost that Douluo Dalu was able to erupt with such unimaginable power. In that instant, the jade phosphorus giant python flashed out, and in just the blink of an eye, it had rushed in front of Chen Zin. The jade phosphorus giant python swung its massive snake tail, tearing through the air and creating a series of sonic booms, striking the immobile Chen Zin with a force capable of shattering mountains and splitting peaks. Crack, crack, crack. Accompanied by a series of cracking sounds, most of the bones in Chen Zin's body were broken, and his internal organs suffered severe trauma in an instant. His eyes bulged, and he spat out a mouthful of blood mixed with fragments of his internal organs. Chen Zin felt a tearing pain. His body had essentially fallen apart, and the aura he emitted instantly plummeted to rock bottom. Even he found it hard to believe. He, the dignified sword Douluo, the titled Douluo known as having the #1 attack power on the continent, had actually been defeated by Douluo Dalu. Douluo Dalu had always been called the weakest titled Douluo in the titled Douluo circle. His poison was a nightmare for low-level spirit masters, but for high-level spirit masters, it had no effect at all. Now, Douluo Dalu, this weakest titled Douluo, had actually defeated Chen Zin against all common sense. It wasn't that Douluo Dalu was stronger than Chen Zin. It was that Lu Chen was stronger than Ning Fengzhai. This was a crushing of support capabilities. Although this time it was the 7 treasure-glazed tile school trio who initiated the ambush, in the wild, in the forest, it was entirely Lu Chen's home turf. On the surface, it seemed that Lu Chen was supporting Douluo Dalu, but in reality, Lu Chen was borrowing the power of the entire forest to assist Douluo Dalu. If they were in a different place, in a city, a desert, or the ocean, Lu Chen's support capability would be greatly reduced. Unfortunately, right now, they happened to be in a forest. Chen Zin's defeat was not unfair. In the next instant, the gray light was exhausted, and time solidification broke on its own. Chen Zin's battered and broken body fell toward the ground like a tattered sack. He couldn't even move a muscle right now. If he fell to the ground like this, Chen Zin would definitely be smashed into a pulp. Seeing this scene, both Ning Fengzhai and Gu Rong's expressions changed drastically. They never would have imagined this, that Douluo Dalu could actually defeat Chen Zin. Ning Fengzhai hurriedly said in a panicked voice, "Uncle Bone, forget about Lan Chen. Go save Uncle's sword quickly. We've lost today. We must take Uncle's sword back to the sect for treatment as soon as possible." For the 7 treasure-glazed tile school, sword Douluo Chen Zin and bone Douluo Gu Rong were the pillars that held up the heavens and the beams that supported the seas. Especially Chen Zin, who possessed spirit power as high as rank 96, and the 7-kill sword spirit with the #1 attack power on the continent, was the strongest guardian deity of the 7 treasure-glazed tile school. Ning Fengzhai himself could die, but Chen Zin absolutely could not. Gu Rong also looked anxious now. Although he and Chen Zin often argued, their relationship was actually very good. He definitely did not want to see Chen Zin die. Gu Rong immediately responded, "I understand. 7th spirit ability, Bone Dragon Avatar, 8th spirit ability, Space Gate." As he spoke, Gu Rong's 7th and 8th spirit rings shone one after another. A surge of dark energy erupted from within Gu Rong, causing a massive change in his body. Within just a few breaths, Gu Rong transformed into a behemoth, a dragon skeleton nearly 50 meters long. It was the skeleton of a Western dragon, shaped like a giant lizard with wings, with 2 clumps of white flame burning in its hollow eye sockets. Roar. The bone dragon let out an angry roar at the jade phosphorus giant python, seemingly to intimidate it, and then immediately went to catch Chen Zin in its claws to prevent him from falling to the ground and being smashed into a pulp. Now he had no intention of continuing the fight. He directly tore open a space gate in the sky. With Ning Fengzhai on its back and Chen Zin in its claws, the bone dragon charged into the space gate without looking back. Chapter 66. After the battle, Bone Douluo's move was truly impossible to guard against. He opened an 8th spirit ability, Space Gate, directly. He came when he wanted and left when he pleased. Without some special means, one could only watch as Bone Douluo came and went as he pleased. Douluo Dalu's 8th spirit ability. Time solidification could have had a chance to keep Bone Douluo there if used by surprise. However, Douluo Bo had just used 8th spirit ability, time solidification once, and his spirit power was now almost completely exhausted. He could only watch as Bone Douluo took Ning Fengjai and Chen Xin and escaped. High in the sky, Douluo Bo reverted to his human form. Although his face looked pale due to excessive consumption, his expression betrayed an irrepressible excitement. Douluo Bo. In a one-on-one battle, he had defeated Sword Douluo Chen Xin. Although behind his victory was the full-force boost from Liu Chen. But Chen Xin also had someone boosting him, and the one providing the boost was none other than Ning Fengjai, who was known as the continent's #1 support soul master. By this logic, Douluo Bo, was no worse than Chen Xin. Thinking of this, the corners of Douluo Bo's mouth could not help but turn upward. Today, the weakest among the titled Douluo, had finally held his head high. Immediately after, Douluo Bo descended to the ground. Now his body felt empty, his spirit power completely exhausted. After landing, he stepped firmly onto the ground and began to draw upon the power of the earth, rapidly recovering his depleted spirit power. The power of the earth was vast and boundless. Douluo Bo recovered very quickly, and one could see his complexion returning to a healthy glow right before their eyes. Douluo Bo marveled in his heart. He had to admit that the ability he obtained after absorbing the Earth Dragon Golden Melon was simply too practical. Meanwhile, after the battle ended, Liu Chen, who had already exited the blue-silver avatar state, wrapped his arm around Douluo Yan's waist and leaped through the forest a few times, arriving beside Douluo Bo. Liu Chen set Douluo Yan down and smilingly congratulated Douluo Bo. Congratulations, Brother Douluo, for severely wounding Sword Douluo Chen Xin head-on. It is fortunate there were no spectators for today's battle. Otherwise, once the results of this fight spread throughout the Spirit Master's world, Brother Douluo's name would surely be even more renowned. Hearing this, Douluo Bo could no longer hold back his laughter. Happy as he was, he still spoke truthfully. Lan Chen, today is all thanks to you. I know my own situation. My true strength is actually not as good as Chen Xin's. Being able to defeat Chen Xin head-on is all thanks to the boost you gave me. Douluo Bo paused for a moment, then looked at Liu Chen with a serious expression. Lan Chen, today Ning Fengjai, Gu Rong, and Chen Xin were clearly coming for you. Although they said it nicely on the surface, talking about inviting you to visit the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. But once you entered the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, there would be absolutely no chance of coming out alive. Even if they didn't kill you immediately, they would definitely interrogate you for your secrets to obtain information about your spirit and spirit ability, and so on. Although they retreated today, I have noted this grudge for you. I am indeed not confident in attacking the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School head-on, but with my methods, they will definitely not have it easy. Within 10 days or half a month, I will make the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School obediently bow their heads and make Ning Fengjai promise personally never to trouble you again. In the past, Douluo Bo, this weakest titled Douluo, would never have dared to provoke the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. After all, the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School trio, Sword Douluo Chen Xin, Bone Douluo Gu Rong, and the continent's #1 support soul master, Ning Fengjai, were not people many dared to provoke across the entire Douluo continent. But that was all in the past. Today, Douluo Bo defeating Chen Xin head-on greatly boosted his self-confidence. As long as he had Liu Chen's support, Douluo Bo would no longer fear any opponent. As for Liu Chen, hearing Douluo Bo's words, he felt quite warm inside. Douluo Bo was genuinely looking out for him. However, Ning Fengjai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong wanted his life today, and he did not intend to let this matter pass so easily. A gentleman takes revenge. Even 10 years is not too late. He had noted this grudge. His blue-silver Emperor Martial soul had followed a support path from the very beginning. To seek revenge against the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School, even if the blue-silver Emperor Martial soul were cultivated to a 9-ring titled Douluo, it would be impossible to contend against Ning Fengjai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong. But he still had a second spirit. Once he cultivated his second spirit to the titled Douluo level, that would be the beginning of his complete reckoning of the grudge. For now, he still needed to endure for the time being. Chen smiled slightly and said, "Then I will have to trouble you, Brother Dugu. Right now, I just want to cultivate properly and strive to reach the titled Douluo level as soon as possible." Dugu Bo patted his chest and promised, "Leave everything to me. With my protection in the future, I won't let any Tom, Dick, or Harry come after you." Haha, today I defeated Chen San. This is a great joyous event that deserves a good celebration. Let's go, back to Heaven Do City, have a good meal and a few drinks. As his voice fell, Dugu Bo grabbed Chen with one hand and Dugu Yan with the other, then soared into the air and flew toward Heaven Do City. On the way, Dugu Bo suddenly said, "Once I have dealt with the 7-treasure glazed tile school, no one should dare to provoke me, and no one will dare to harm Yan Yan. Yan Yan, do you want to go back to Heaven Do Imperial Academy to continue your studies?" Hearing this, Dugu Yan turned her head to glance at Chen and refused without hesitation, her tone carrying a hint of coquettishness as she said, "Grandfather, I don't want to go back to school. What is there to learn in the academy? In the past, you always left me alone in the academy. Don't even think about leaving me alone in the academy again. I want to stay by your side. You are a titled Douluo. Teaching me to cultivate should be easy for you." Dugu Bo felt a lump in his heart. In the past, he had to suppress the deadly poison, so he could only endure the heartache and leave Dugu Yan at the Heaven Do Imperial Academy. Now, just as Dugu Yan said, what the Heaven Do Imperial Academy could teach, Dugu Bo, as a titled Douluo, could teach just as well, perhaps even better. Dugu Bo spoke in a low voice. "Yan Yan, grandfather will never leave you alone again. From now on, I will teach you personally. I want to pass on all my methods of using poison to you. I originally did not want to pass those methods on to you. Deadly poison harms others and oneself, and I myself have been tortured until I am neither human nor ghost. Now it is better. We, grandfather and granddaughter, no longer need to suffer from the erosion of the deadly poison, and I can confidently and boldly pass some of my methods on to you." Dugu Yan's eyes lit up when she heard this. As Dugu Bo's granddaughter, her best teacher was naturally Dugu Bo. Dugu Yan cheered and said, "I will definitely learn it carefully." Dugu Bo was very happy. His methods finally had a successor and would not be lost in his hands. Happy in his heart, Dugu Bo accelerated his speed and headed toward Heaven Do City. At this moment, Chen swept his gaze toward a certain direction. Relying on his blue-silver domain, he sensed that at that location, 2 titled Douluo had been watching from the shadows. However, the other party seemed to have no ill intent, so he did not cause any extra trouble and acted as if he did not know they were there. Chen thought to himself, who could it be? To be able to mobilize 2 titled Douluo and pay attention to my and Dugu Bo's whereabouts, aside from the 7-treasure glazed tile school, it could only be that Heaven Do Crown Prince. Zhu King, or rather, Kaian Renksu. Then these 2 titled Douluo might be Snake Lance Douluo and Porcupinefish Douluo. Tusk, it really never stops. The Douluo Continent is such a small place with various forces mixed together. Sometimes, even if you want to hide, you can't. At the same time, the 2 titled Douluo hidden in the shadows, having witnessed the entire incident, also quickly left the place, preparing to return and report to their young lord. Chapter 67. The Breakdown of Ning Fengjai's 7-treasure glazed tile school. Under the attack of Dugu Bo, Chen San, whose body was severely damaged, was sent back to the 7-treasure glazed tile school immediately through the 8th spirit ability. Space gate opened by Bone Douluo. Cough. Cough. Chen San's face was as pale as paper, his breath was weak, and he kept coughing up blood. He was laid flat on a bed, his sternum completely collapsed. With one tail swipe from Dugu Bo, Chen San had lost half his life. Fortunately, he was a titled Douluo with as much as 96 levels of spirit power. Now, his broken body was only supported by his spirit power. Otherwise, he would have undoubtedly perished. Returning to the 7-treasure glazed tile school was just the beginning. If Chen San could not receive proper treatment, Even if he managed to survive, his strength would be severely diminished, and he would be left with serious sequelae. Ning Fengzhai, the continent's #1 support soul master, did not have healing abilities, but within the 7-treasure glazed tile school, there was no lack of spirit masters who possessed healing capabilities. Ning Fengzhai had lost his usual refined and easygoing demeanor. Upon returning to the 7-treasure glazed tile school, he shouted and hollered with an irritable temper, demanding that the support soul masters with healing capabilities come to assist in treating Chen Xin. The 7-treasure glazed tile school indeed had deep foundations. After half a day of treatment by several support soul masters with healing capabilities, Chen Xin was finally saved. The broken bones in his body had been reconnected, and his nearly shattered internal organs had been patched up and barely recovered. Chen Xin's breathing steadied, which meant he had passed the most dangerous moment, but returning to his peak state would require a long period of recuperation. In the short term, it was impossible for Chen Xin to fight again. Even if he had to fight, he could at most exert 50% of his combat power. After completing the treatment, those support soul masters with healing capabilities very tactfully exited the room. Soon, only Ning Fengzhai, Gu Rong, and the lying Chen Xin remained in the room. Chen Xin looked dejected. His once sharp eyes were now clouded with an indescribable gloom. There is no sorrow greater than a dead heart. That was exactly how Chen Xin felt right now. He, the dignified sword Douluo, known as the titled Douluo with the greatest attack power on the continent, had been defeated by Douluo Dalu, the weakest titled Douluo. For a proud person like Chen Xin, failure was failure. He would not make any excuses for himself. He would only repeatedly blame himself in his heart, asking why he had lost to the likes of Douluo Dalu. Being too rigid leads to breaking. That was the logic. The more unyielding a person is, the more easily they fall into internal strife after encountering setbacks, and the harder it is for them to walk out of it. With Chen Xin's current psychological state, if he could not see through it and move on, he would likely be stuck at 96 levels of spirit power for the rest of his life, never to see the slightest improvement. Suddenly, Chen Xin turned his head, his gloomy eyes looking at Ning Fengzhai and Gu Rong, and he twitched his mouth, saying with difficulty, "Fengzhai, I am truly sorry. This matter has been ruined by me. I can't even beat Douluo Dalu anymore. From now on, although I am very unwilling, the heavy responsibility of guarding the 7-treasure glazed tile school can only be handed over to you, old bone." Hearing this, Ning Fengzhai secretly thought it was bad. Chen Xin had always taken guarding the 7-treasure glazed tile school as his own duty, but now he was instructing Gu Rong as if he were entrusting his legacy. Chen Xin's spirit had dispersed. Without his spirit, even with the 7-kill sword spirit and 96 levels of spirit power, he would likely no longer be the sharp sword Douluo of the past. Ning Fengzhai hurriedly stepped forward, tightly grasping Chen Xin's palm, and comforted him in a solemn tone. "Sword uncle, you cannot say that. The 7-treasure glazed tile school cannot do without you. Today's failure is entirely my responsibility. It was my support ability that was inferior to that Lan Chen's. You are the sky-supporting white jade pillar and sea-bridging purple gold beam of the 7-treasure glazed tile school. Please never say such disheartening words again. Think about it in the future, after I abdicate and Rongrong becomes the sect master of the 7-treasure glazed tile school. She will still need you to escort her. If you won't consider it for me, you must consider it for Rongrong. Now, just rest and recuperate your body well. I will have Rongrong come to keep you company. Sword uncle, the 7-treasure glazed tile school, I and Rongrong, we all still rely on you." Ning Fengzhai said a great deal, but only when he mentioned Ning Rongrong did a glimmer of light appear in Chen Xin's gloomy eyes. Ning Rongrong was someone Chen Xin and Gu Rong had watched grow up. Both of them treated Ning Rongrong like their own granddaughter. Chen Xin found the meaning of life once more, and he nodded, his voice weak as he said, "I understand. I still have important things to do, and I will take care of my body." Seeing Chen Xin perk up a little, Ning Fengzhai breathed a slight sigh of relief. He gave Gu Rong a look, and then the two walked out of the room one after the other, leaving Chen Xin to rest properly in the room. After leaving the room, Ning Fengzhai walked about several hundred paces, his hands under his sleeves clenched tightly into fists. The more he thought about it, the more stifled and regretful he felt, his face as dark as the bottom of a pot. Suddenly, he stopped his footsteps. Ning Fengzhai sighed heavily, and with an almost ferocious look in his eyes, he said, "Bone uncle, I regret it. Back in Heaven Dew City, I should not have stopped you. If we had killed Lan Chen at that time, even if it meant offending Douluo Dalu, or even offending Zhu King and the Heaven Dew imperial family, at least we could have eliminated a major threat. Now, not only did we fail to kill Lan Chen, but we also let Sword Uncle be defeated by Douluo Dalu, causing Sword Uncle to lose his spirit. We have suffered a great loss, a great loss. That Lan Chen, his spirit's supportability far exceeds the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda. We no longer have the chance to eliminate him. As long as Lan Chen lives for one day, the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda of our 7 treasure glazed tile school will forever be a foil." Ning Fengzhai said this with all his might. Suddenly, a fishy sweetness surged into his throat, but he gritted his teeth and swallowed it down. In this life, desires are always endless. Those at the bottom work hard from morning till night just for a full meal. Those in the middle, once they are full, will want to improve their status. Those at the top, once they have status, have all sorts of pursuits. They want endless wealth, a reputation respected by others, superior privileges, and a legacy that lasts for generations. Ning Fengzhai was the continent's #1 support soul master, and the 7 treasure glazed tile school was the continent's #1 support sect. Was Ning Fengzhai satisfied with this? Not satisfied. Ning Fengzhai had attached himself to the Heaven Dew Empire imperial family and became the teacher of the Heaven Dew Crown Prince Zhu King. All of this was to advance further. To make himself the imperial preceptor of the Heaven Dew Empire, to make his sect the state religion of the Heaven Dew Empire. From this, one can see just how much Ning Fengzhai's desires had inflated. Ning Fengzhai had spent countless efforts to make the 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda the continent's #1 support spirit, and to make the 7 treasure glazed tile school the continent's #1 support sect. Now he could only watch helplessly as Lan Chen rose. This was more painful for him than killing him. After hearing what Ning Fengzhai said, Gu Rong wiped his neck with a ferocious look in his eyes and said, "Fengzhai, then let's make another move. Even if it's a sneak attack or assassination, we must completely eliminate this threat, Lan Chen." Ning Fengzhai smiled bitterly upon hearing this and shook his head. "We have no chance left. Now that Sword Uncle is seriously injured, if it's just the two of us, it's impossible to find a chance to kill Lan Chen under Douluo Dalu's protection. Besides, I have a premonition that Douluo Dalu will not let this rest. If that old poison master, who is covered in poison, runs to the 7 treasure glazed tile school to run wild, the only one who can block him is you, Bone Uncle. Bone Uncle, I will order the sect disciples not to go out for the time being, and I will have to trouble you to pay attention to the sect's defense. From now on, strengthen the guard. We absolutely cannot let Douluo Dalu take advantage of us." As his voice fell, Ning Fengzhai walked forward, dejected and soul-lost. Now facts had proven that his emphasis on Lan Chen was completely correct, but unfortunately, there was no longer any chance to stifle Lan Chen's rise. Chapter 68. Zhu King's Arrangements, Heaven Dew City. Crown Prince's residence. Inside a simply decorated study, 2 middle-aged men in golden armor, one fat and one thin, were recounting what they had seen and heard today with expressions of disbelief. Reporting to young lord, the movements of the 7 treasure glazed tile school that you asked us to monitor have yielded results today. Today, Ning Fengzhai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong of the 7 treasure glazed tile school went north of Jiling Pass to intercept and kill Douluo Dalu, Douluo Yan, and Lan Chen. The situation exceeded our expectations. Lan Chen possesses a domain ability that can suppress a titled Douluo. He could even manipulate plant vines and entangle Ning Fengzhai and Gu Rong for a period of time. Furthermore, in the battle between Douluo Dalu and Chen Xin, with Lan Chen's assistance, Douluo Dalu defeated Chen Xin, who was being supported by Ning Fengzhai, head-on. For the publicly recognized weakest, titled Douluo to defeat the sword Douluo, known for having the highest attack power on the continent, head-on. Lan Chen's supportability far exceeds that of Ning Fengzhai. His value is simply immeasurable. Clearly, these two golden-armored middle-aged men were the two titled Douluo that Lu Chen had sensed through his blue-silver domain. They were Snake Lance Douluo, Shi Long, and Porcupinefish Douluo, Sai Zhu. They reported directly to the young lord of Spirit Hall, or rather, to the identity she was disguised as, the Heaven Du Crown Prince, Zhu King. Standing behind the desk with his hands behind his back, facing away from them, was Zhu King, dressed in white casual attire. After hearing the account from Snake Lance Douluo and Porcupinefish Douluo, a strange brilliance bloomed in her eyes. Possessing a domain, suppressing a titled Douluo, and having terrifyingly strong support abilities that even surpassed the continent's recognized #1 support soul master, Ning Fengzhai. In Zhu King's eyes, Lan Chen was now equivalent to Guan Yu, who had successfully proven his value by slaying Huexing while the wine was still warm. How much Cao Cao loved Guan Yu back then is how much Zhu King loved Lan Chen now. Zhu King's desire to recruit Lan Chen reached its peak at this moment. Zhu King suddenly turned around, eyes shining, and exclaimed, "Lan Chen, he truly did not disappoint me. Not only does he cultivate quickly, but his spirit ability is also terrifyingly strong. If I can recruit him, he will surely help me achieve my great cause." Zhu King could already imagine it. She would be responsible for combat, and Lan Chen would be responsible for support. Relying on her angelic domain and Lan Chen's support and domain abilities, they could fight anyone. Even when they both became titled Douluo, they would be enough to sweep away all enemies on the Douluo Continent, including her mother, that supreme pontiff of Spirit Hall. Bibai Dong, Zhu King frowned, pacing back and forth. After a while, she spoke with a solemn tone. Now that Lan Chen has obtained the protection of Douluo Dalu, and with his support, Douluo Dalu can even defeat Chen Xin head-on. The 7-treasure glazed tile school can no longer pose a life-threatening danger to him. I cannot bestow favors upon Lan Chen, so there is no way for me to recruit him. The current strategy is to understand his past. Starting from Lan Chen's past is the only way to successfully win him over. Zhu King made a decision and immediately looked at Snake Lance Douluo and Porcupinefish Douluo, ordering, "Elder Snake Lance, return to Spirit Hall and check the archives. Find information regarding Lan Chen's spirit and domain. The name Lan Chen is fake, and his appearance is fake, but his spirit and his domain cannot be fake. The archives of Spirit Hall contain everything, with information on all spirits and domains that have appeared on the Douluo Continent over the past tens of thousands of years. As long as we search carefully, we will find clues. That way, we can deduce Lan Chen's true identity and background. Once we master his past, we will surely find a way to recruit him." Speaking to the end, Zhu King looked very serious. "Elder Snake Lance, if necessary, you can seek out my grandfather and ask him to provide help. Just say it is my intent. Also, everything I have ordered you must absolutely not be known by that woman. Do you understand?" Snake Lance Douluo stood tall, cupped his hands, and performed a salute. "Rest assured, young lord, this subordinate understands. I have already memorized Lan Chen's spirit. It gives me a feeling of familiarity, as if it involves some past events from over a decade ago. After I return to Spirit Hall and investigate the sequence of events, I will come to Heaven Du City to report to the young lord." The voice faded, and Snake Lance Douluo turned and left. With just a flash, he had disappeared from the Crown Prince's residence. Familiarity. Some past events from over a decade ago. Zhu King wore a solemn expression. Hearing Snake Lance Douluo say this, she had a premonition that there was a massive secret involved. But no matter what the secret was, it could not affect her determination to recruit Lan Chen. Subsequently, Zhu King looked at Porcupinefish Douluo. "Elder Porcupinefish, go and continue to monitor the 7-treasure glazed tile school. Ning Fengzhai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong failed to intercept Douluo Bo, Douluo Yan, and Lan Chen. The two sides have already formed a grudge and will definitely not let it go easily. There will certainly be follow-up developments. I need to know what they will do next in order to better control the current situation. Hearing this, Porcupinefish Douluo stood straight, also cupped his hands and performed a salute. Young lord, please remain calm. This subordinate will go and investigate now. After speaking, Porcupinefish Douluo also turned and left. Walking out of the study, his figure flickered, and he soared into the sky, silently leaving the Crown Prince's residence. After Snake Lance Douluo and Porcupinefish Douluo left, only Zhu King remained in the study. Although her expression was calm, her heart was not. A sense of urgency had arisen. Zhu King, who was actually Qian Rengsu, awakened her angelic spirit at the age of 6, possessed innate full spirit power and 10 levels of God-bestowed spirit power, meaning she possessed innate 20-level spirit power. Innate 20-level spirit power. She became a spirit grandmaster at the age of 6. This allowed Qian Rengsu to start ahead of other spirit masters. Now, 13 years later, Qian Rengsu was 19 years old, and her strength had already reached the Spirit King realm. A 19-year-old Spirit King already surpassed 99% of the Spirit Masters on the Douluo Continent. Although Qian Rengsu did not feel overly proud, having such a realm at such an age still made her quite satisfied. But compared to Lan Chen, Qian Rengsu felt very dissatisfied with her own cultivation progress. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share infinite novel audio. In Qian Rengsu's view, Lan Chen was at most innate full spirit power. Even so, he had become a 7-ring spirit saint at around 30 years old, and at Qian Rengsu's current cultivation speed, by the time she was around 30, she would at most be a 7-ring spirit saint. Comparing them like this, Qian Rengsu felt a strong sense of urgency. Qian Rengsu thought to herself, "My years of undercover life have greatly slowed down my cultivation progress. With my innate 20-level spirit power talent, my realm should never have stopped at Spirit King." The appearance of Lan Chen has served as a reminder to me. He is a support soul master and can have such astonishing cultivation speed. I should also focus on cultivation for a period of time, otherwise, would I not be wasting this innate 20-level spirit power talent? Chapter 69. Poison Douluo's Revenge 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. As the second most powerful sect among the 7 great sects on the Douluo Continent, the disciples of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School had always been high-spirited and full of confidence. But now, those 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School disciples were all looking uneasy, jittery at the slightest sound. The entire 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School appeared panic-stricken, as if shrouded by a massive dark cloud. It was no wonder they were so terrified. Over the last 10 days, terrifying things had occurred within the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Some 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School disciples had been bitten by unknown venomous snakes while sleeping and died in their dreams, only to be discovered the next day. The corpses of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School disciples poisoned by the snakes had turned blue and purple, their bodies stiffened, and their state of death was extremely gruesome and terrifying. Other 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School disciples, while eating, would suddenly clutch their throats, foam at the mouth, and collapse to the ground, their bodies arching like shrimp, trembling incessantly until they died right before everyone's eyes. Such public executions struck at the deepest fears in everyone's hearts, completely shattering their psychological defenses, as no one knew if they would be the next victim of the poison. There were even 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School disciples who, while on patrol or standing guard, were suddenly enveloped by a green mist. Even holding their breath was useless. The virulent poison within the green mist could corrode their skin, making them feel an intense pain and itch all over their bodies. It felt as if countless tiny insects were crawling beneath their skin, causing them to uncontrollably scratch and claw at themselves, scratching and clawing until they became bloodied figures, eventually tearing apart their own muscles and bones, or even gouging out their own internal organs. Events like these had occurred countless times over the past 10 days, plunging the 7 treasure-glazed tile school disciples into a state of perpetual panic. Death is indeed terrifying, but the process of waiting for death increases that fear 100-fold. Especially when they knew they would not die easily, but rather suffer incomparably painful deaths, leaving behind gruesome and terrifying corpses. This was a lethal blow capable of breaking anyone's psychological defenses. On the Douluo Continent, there was only one great grandmaster of the poison Dao who could wield poison with such supernatural skill. Poison Douluo Dalu using such methods against the 7 treasure-glazed tile school disciples was a provocation, a naked slap to the face. In the past, Ning Fengzhai would certainly have taken Chen and Gu Rong to hunt Douluo Bo across the continent. Nothing less than killing Douluo Bo would have been enough to vent the hatred in his heart. But now, Chen had been defeated head-on by Douluo Bo and was still in a state of severe injury, unable to engage in combat for the time being. As for Gu Rong, who remained, he had to protect Ning Fengzhai while also being responsible for the sect's defense. Facing Douluo Bo's elusive methods, he, too, was unable to split himself to attend to everything, inside the main hall on the main peak. Ning Fengzhai sat on the main seat, his hands gripping the armrests tightly, his complexion livid, his eyes flashing with a predatory light. He gritted his teeth and said, word by word, 10 days, a mere 10 days, and over 300 spirit masters in my 7 treasure-glazed tile school have been poisoned to death, while over 500 more are currently being tortured by the virulent poison, looking neither human nor ghost. Although we, the 7 treasure-glazed tile school, claim to have 5,000 spirit masters, just 10 days have passed, and nearly 1/5 of them have lost their combat capability. Poison Douluo, what a fine method. I underestimated him. If he continues to torment us like this, I fear our 7 treasure-glazed tile school will be completely annihilated. Ning Fengzhai felt his heart twitching in spasms. The death of 300 spirit masters and the poisoning of 500 others had already severely damaged the 7 treasure-glazed tile school's foundations. Ning Fengzhai now looked as if he had aged 10 years, the exhaustion between his brows impossible to hide. He was conflicted in his heart. Douluo Bo had already caused massive losses to the 7 treasure-glazed tile school. If he were to admit defeat now and apologize to Douluo Bo, then those who died in the 7 treasure-glazed tile school would have died in vain. If he did not admit defeat and fought Douluo Bo to the end, then the 7 treasure-glazed tile school would likely be erased from the spirit master's world. This was the problem Ning Fengzhai was currently facing. Although he knew that continuing to hesitate would bring even greater losses to the 7 treasure-glazed tile school, he remained unable to make a firm decision. While Ning Fengzhai was still hesitating, Gu Rong could no longer hold back. Gu Rong came to Ning Fengzhai's side, his sunken eyes flashing with a violent and bloodthirsty light. He was never a man with a good temper, and now that Douluo Bo was provoking them so unscrupulously, it had long since reached a point that Gu Rong could not tolerate. Gu Rong spoke in a grim tone. Fengzhai, do not hesitate any longer. Let us try one more time. I will risk my old life to deal with Douluo Bo. 10 days, nearly 1,000 spirit masters lost. Everyone outside is watching us like a joke. A dignified 7 treasure-glazed tile school, bullied by Douluo Bo to the point of having no power to fight back. If we do not make a strong response, setting aside the Clear Sky sect which has gone into seclusion, both the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan and those forces of the lower 4 sects will be eyeing our 7 treasure-glazed tile school like tigers. Gu Rong's words made sense. This time, the 7 treasure-glazed tile school had lost both face and substance. It was only natural that others would be targeting them. However, Gu Rong was merely a high-level fighter. He was responsible for fighting and only needed to consider risking his life. As the true master of the 7 treasure-glazed tile school, Ning Fengzhai had much more to consider. For Ning Fengzhai, preserving the legacy of the seven-treasure glazed tile school was more important than anything else. Ning Fengjai shook his head, let out a bitter smile, and said, Uncle Gu, even Uncle Jian was defeated at Douluo's hands. How could you possibly kill him? We have already formed a feud with Douluo. If we attempt to ambush him again, his next retaliation will surely be even more ferocious. Our seven-treasure glazed tile school has only suffered damage to its foundations. It has not yet reached the point of annihilation. If Douluo were to recklessly unleash his virulent poison, our seven-treasure glazed tile school would truly be erased. Speaking to this point, Ning Fengjai took a deep breath. He finally made up his mind, saying with great helplessness yet resolute determination, I have decided. Since we cannot kill Douluo now, we have no choice but to bow our heads to him. The 300 spirit masters who died cannot be saved, but there are still 500 poisoned spirit masters, and there is a chance to save them. We will bring a heavy gift, a gift that Douluo cannot refuse, to apologize to Douluo and simultaneously request the antidote to save those 500 poisoned spirit masters. Only in this way can we minimize our losses. Regarding the catastrophe the sect has suffered this time, all the faults and mistakes lie with me, the sect master, for making the wrong decision. Even if I have to sacrifice this old face of mine, I must save those spirit masters who have been poisoned and tortured to the brink of death. Douluo may not necessarily be willing to see us right now. We still need to find an intermediary. Douluo is a guest elder of the Heaven-Du imperial family. As long as someone from the Heaven-Du imperial family comes forward, Douluo will have to give some face. It seems that in the end, I still have to ask my disciple. The tables have truly turned. To think that our seven-treasure glazed tile school would actually have a day where we have to bow our heads to Douluo. Chen Ning Fengjai gritted his teeth in hatred, yet he was helpless. A single Chen they could deal with. A single Douluo they could also deal with. But if these two were to join forces, one providing support and the other fighting, the seven-treasure glazed tile school really had no way to deal with them. Now, Ning Fengjai only hoped that everything would go smoothly. These days of living in fear really could not continue any longer. Chapter 70. 50,000-year human-faced demon spider emperor right leg bone the next day, Heaven-Du City, Douluo residence. Heaven-Du Crown Prince Zhu King and seven-treasure glazed tile school sect master Ning Fengjai had come to visit once again. Ning Fengjai's expression was somewhat dazed. A month ago, he had always shown surface-level respect to Douluo, the weakest titled Douluo, but had truly thought little of him. In just 1 month, he no longer dared to harbor any contempt for Douluo. This visit was specifically to offer an apology. After deciding to yield yesterday, Ning Fengjai had notified Zhu King, requesting the Heaven-Du imperial family to intervene and mediate the conflict between their seven-treasure glazed tile school and Douluo. Douluo was a guest elder of the Heaven-Du imperial family, and Ning Fengjai was Zhu King's teacher. To the Heaven-Du imperial family, both were equally important, as both were forces relied upon by the Heaven-Du imperial family. If both sides fought until neither could yield, it would be a loss for the Heaven-Du imperial family. Therefore, Zhu King appeared today partly because of Ning Fengjai's request and partly because of Emperor Zhu Yi's demand. After his reflections, Ning Fengjai whispered to the Zhu King beside him, King, I leave today's matters to you. Zhu King smiled warmly, his aura gentle as jade. Hearing this, he replied softly, Teacher, rest assured. Although Your Excellency Jade Phosphor uses ruthless methods, he left room for maneuver when he acted, so he must have been waiting for you to come. In a moment, we will lower our posture, and Your Excellency Jade Phosphor will surely be willing to resolve this matter amicably. Ning Fengjai sighed softly. I hope so. Uncle Sword, I have wronged you today by having you accompany me on this trip. This last sentence was spoken by Ning Fengjai to Chen Zin. The one protecting Ning Fengjai today was Chen Zin, not Gurong. This was a deliberate arrangement by Ning Fengjai. Currently, Chen Zin's severe injuries had not yet healed, and he could only exert 50% of his full strength, which was not enough to shoulder the heavy responsibility of guarding the sect. The Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School was currently in a state of panic, and it was essential to have a powerful figure to preside over the overall situation. Bone Douluo Gurong, whose strength remained undiminished, was the most suitable candidate. There was another reason. Gurong's reputation outside was not very good. He had a foul mouth, a short temper, and had once clearly shown hostility towards Douluo Bo and Lan Chen. Ning Fengzhai really could not guarantee that if he brought Gurong along, it would not be perceived as a provocation by Douluo Bo. It must be said that Ning Fengzhai considered matters very thoroughly, but from another perspective, his excessive caution also proved that he was indeed afraid. Chen Xin, who was following beside Ning Fengzhai, nodded with a calm expression. "Fengzhai, do not mind it. All of this is for the sect." The current Chen Xin appeared no different from the past, but anyone familiar with him could see that there was no light in his eyes. The Chen Xin of the past, whose eyes were as sharp as a goshawk, containing clanging sword intent, and who was too intimidating to look at directly, had completely vanished. His sword heart was tarnished. Now, Chen Xin's eyes revealed a hint of gloom, as if he were just an old man nearing the end of his life, rather than the sword Douluo who once shook the continent. The most serious loss for the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School this time might be that Chen Xin had lost his former spirit and sharpness. Even if 300 or 500 ordinary spirit masters died, relying on the financial resources of the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School, he believed that it would not take long to recruit enough spirit masters to make up for the losses. Sword Douluo was a titled Douluo, the pillar of the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School. He had lost his spirit and sharpness. This was what pained Ning Fengzhai the most. This was not because Chen Xin was fragile, as if he could not afford to lose. During the original soul hunting operation, facing the siege of 4 titled Douluo from Spirit Hall, Chen Xin, with Ning Fengzhai's assistance, had fought 1 against 3 or even 1 against 4. Even though he eventually lost an arm, it was a glorious defeat. Not only was his sword heart not tarnished, but it actually led Chen Xin to a realization, allowing him to break through from level 96 spirit power to level 97 spirit power in one go. But this time, Chen Xin had lost to the weakest titled Douluo Bo in a one-on-one duel. Every time he thought of this point, Chen Xin would hate himself immensely. It was estimated that he would never be able to recover in this lifetime. Returning to the present, Zhu Qing and Ning Fengzhai stepped forward and knocked on the door, and that vermilion gate was quickly opened. Douluo Bo's butler walked out. As if he had expected it, he led Zhu Qing and Ning Fengzhai into the Douluo residence, guiding them all the way to the main hall. Douluo Bo, Lu Chen, and Douluo Yan were waiting in this main hall. Douluo Bo's gaze swept over Zhu Qing, then looked at Ning Fengzhai and Chen Xin. The corners of his mouth curled up uncontrollably. His back was straight, and his eyes revealed a hint of amusement. The current Douluo Bo exuded the aura of a powerhouse from head to toe, making Ning Fengzhai and Chen Xin opposite him feel immense pressure. This was a feeling that radiated from the inside out. In the past, when facing Ning Fengzhai, Chen Xin, and Gurong, Douluo Bo had always been somewhat reserved and cautious. But now it was completely different. Ever since Douluo Bo defeated Chen Xin, it was as if he had broken the shackles in his heart, and that aura of a powerhouse had naturally emerged, calm and composed. He stared directly at the Ning Fengzhai and Chen Xin opposite him, openly and with an aggressive, oppressive gaze. Under such a gaze, Ning Fengzhai and Chen Xin appeared somewhat cautious instead. Perhaps no one expected that the status of both sides would have such a reversal. Douluo Bo curled the corners of his mouth, looking down at Ning Fengzhai and Chen Xin with a condescending gaze, and said in a somewhat sarcastic tone, "Schoolmaster Ning, Sword Douluo, we meet again. The previous battle was very satisfying for me. I wonder when you will have time for us to have another round." These words were very harsh. Chen Xin could barely control his anger. Did Douluo Bo really think that just because he had defeated him once, he could defeat him every single time? Ning Fengzhai's anger also surged, but he quickly suppressed it. After all, they were not here to quarrel this time. His eyes were full of humiliation, but as he closed and reopened them, only humility and respect remained in his eyes. Ning Fengzhai lowered his posture significantly. As the 7-treasure glazed tile school sect master, facing Douluo Dalu, he took the initiative to bow and salute. "Your Excellency Jade Phosphor, everything before was a misunderstanding. We have come this time specifically to apologize. We are extremely sorry for the trouble caused to you, your granddaughter, and Mr. Lan Chen, and we guarantee that such things will never happen again. Our 7-treasure glazed tile school has already suffered huge losses. More than 300 spirit masters have died, and this number is rising every day. There are also over 500 spirit masters who are suffering in agony from the toxic poison. We ask that Your Excellency, Jade Phosphor, provide the antidote. Our 7-treasure glazed tile school will be eternally grateful and will certainly offer compensation that will satisfy you all." After Ning Fengzhai finished speaking, Zhu King stepped forward and said, "Your Excellency Jade Phosphor, this is my second time acting as a lobbyist. I have a rough understanding of the ins and outs of the matter. It was my teacher who was in the wrong, but those spirit masters of the 7-treasure glazed tile school are innocent. Their families and friends have all suffered great grief because of this matter. Please, Your Excellency Jade Phosphor, have pity on them and provide the antidote to save their lives. I guarantee in the name of the Heaven-Due Crown Prince that the 7-treasure glazed tile school will definitely give you all a satisfactory explanation. If the 7-treasure glazed tile school breaks its promise, the entire Heaven-Due Imperial family will never let the 7-treasure glazed tile school off easily." Watching the bowing, apologizing Ning Fengzhai and the mediating Zhu King, Douluo Dalu decided to stop while he was ahead. He could not truly destroy the 7-treasure glazed tile school. If he did, Ning Fengzhai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong would definitely fight him to the death regardless of the cost. The Heaven-Due Imperial family, which had close ties with the 7-treasure glazed tile school, would also definitely be furious, and there would be no place for him in the Heaven-Due Empire. Even Spirit Hall would definitely act hypocritically, defining him as a fallen spirit master and dispatching powerhouses to hunt him down. After all, exterminating an entire sect was too heinous a nature. Spirit Hall prided itself on justice and would never let go of this opportunity to improve its reputation and prestige. Douluo Dalu decided to stop while he was ahead, but that did not mean he was willing to help them detoxify. In order to help Lan Chen vent his anger, those 7-treasure glazed tile school spirit masters had to die. He said in a calm tone, "Since this is a misunderstanding, then it is fine to resolve it. However, I do not have the antidote you want in my hands. You have found the wrong person. If there is nothing else, you may leave." Douluo Dalu did not admit to poisoning them, nor was he willing to provide the antidote. Ning Fengzhai's expression did not change. He knew things would not go so smoothly. He then reached for his storage soul guidance device and took out a brocade box from it. He opened the brocade box in front of everyone and said, "Your Excellency Jade Phosphor, you are a great grandmaster of the poison Dao. You must have a way to detoxify. Even if you do not have the antidote on hand right now, you must be able to concoct the antidote at any time. As long as Your Excellency, Jade Phosphor, is willing to take action to detoxify, this spirit bone will be our 7-treasure glazed tile school's token of gratitude. This is a 50,000-year human-faced demon spider emperor right leg bone." Chapter 71. This is not over. Everyone in the hall, Douluo Dalu, Lu Chen, Douluo Yan, and even Zhu King, had their attention drawn by these words, looking toward the open brocade box in Ning Fengzhai's hand. Inside the brocade box lay a black right leg bone, resting quietly. The right leg bone was quite complete, of extremely high quality, and emitted astonishing energy fluctuations. Upon seeing it, it was indeed a spirit bone. Listening to Ning Fengzhai's introduction, this was actually a 50,000-year human-faced demon spider emperor right leg bone. The expressions of everyone present immediately became interesting. Any spirit bone could be considered a priceless treasure. Moreover, this spirit bone was not an ordinary one, coming from a 50,000-year human-faced demon spider emperor. The value of this spirit bone was immeasurable. Even a titled Douluo would be unable to resist being tempted by it. Ning Fengzhai was indeed generous. The value of this heavy gift was something even Douluo could not resist. Seeing that the spirit bone he brought out had already shocked everyone, Ning Fengzhai introduced it in a low voice. When my spirit power reached a 70-level breakthrough, I went to hunt for the spirit beast needed for my 7th spirit ring. Unexpectedly, this human-faced demon spider emperor relied on its terrifying stealth ability to hide in the shadows and launch a sneak attack, causing heavy casualties to our hunting team. This made me extremely furious. Even though I did not need the spirit ring of the human-faced demon spider emperor, I still had people slaughter it to retaliate for its sneak attack on us. After the human-faced demon spider emperor died, this right leg bone dropped. This spirit bone is very precious, but unfortunately, it has a poison attribute. It is not quite compatible with us, so we kept it. Today, I present this spirit bone to Your Excellency Jade Phosphor. Firstly, it is to turn hostility into friendship, and secondly, to request that Your Excellency Jade Phosphor provide the antidote. When Ning Fengzhai said this, Douluo immediately showed a look of hesitation. He really wanted this right leg bone, but once he accepted the spirit bone, he would find it difficult to refuse Ning Fengzhai again, and would have to help the spirit masters of the 7 treasure glazed tile school detoxify. He rubbed his hands, finding it hard to decide for a moment. After much thought, Douluo could only look at Lu Chen. It was to vent Lu Chen's anger that he had poisoned those spirit masters of the 7 treasure glazed tile school. Whether or not to give them, the antidote still required asking for Lu Chen's opinion. This small action by Douluo was seen by Ning Fengzhai, who understood that to get the antidote from Douluo, he must get Lu Chen to nod in agreement. Ning Fengzhai turned his head again and looked at Lu Chen with a sincere expression, speaking earnestly. Mr. Lan Chen, everything was my fault before, but those spirit masters of our 7 treasure glazed tile school are all innocent. They should not have to pay for my mistakes. As long as Mr. Lan Chen can forgive us, I am personally willing to offer 10 million gold coins as compensation, and I can guarantee that I will never disturb Mr. Lan Chen again. I hope Mr. Lan Chen will persuade Your Excellency Jade Phosphor to provide the antidote. If Mr. Lan Chen feels it is not enough, we can discuss it further. Whatever you want, if our 7 treasure glazed tile school has it, we can give it to you. Lu Chen took a deep look at Ning Fengzhai, who appeared humble, completely devoid of the airs of a sect master of the 7 treasure glazed tile school, and capable of both bending and stretching. This person was indeed a formidable character. Feeling that he was a threat, he immediately brought Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo to intercept and kill him. Now that the interception had failed, when it was time to bow his head and admit defeat, he immediately became humble to the point of being in the dust. For a person like this, once targeted by him, it was truly a chilling matter. If Ning Fengzhai did not die, Lu Chen would not be able to eat or sleep in peace. Thinking about the incident where Ning Fengzhai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong came to intercept him, he could not help but feel angry. This matter is not over. Lu Chen spoke in a calm tone. Big brother Douluo, this spirit bone is very good. You should accept it. You can give them the antidote they want. As for the 10 million gold coins in compensation, I do not want it, because my life cannot be compensated for with 10 million gold coins. As soon as these words were spoken, Douluo, Ning Fengzhai, and Zhu Qing all looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Everyone present was sharp, so they naturally understood the meaning behind Lu Chen's words. Refusing to accept compensation meant refusing to forgive Ning Fengzhai. He reserved the right to hold Ning Fengzhai accountable in the future. After all, if he accepted the compensation, it would be morally indefensible if he wanted to retaliate against the 7 treasure glazed tile school in the future. Now that Lu Chen did not accept the compensation, It was clear that he held a grudge against Ning Fengjai in his heart, and could use this as an excuse to retaliate against Ning Fengjai in the future. A shadow flitted across the depths of Ning Fengjai's eyes. Lu Chen did not want to reconcile with them, and coincidentally, they did not want Lu Chen to grow up smoothly. It seemed there would be more open struggles and secret schemes in the future. A flash of pleasant surprise crossed Zhu Qing's heart. What she feared most was that Lu Chen would have no desires or demands. As long as Lu Chen had demands, she could target him for recruitment. Since Lu Chen wanted to retaliate against Ning Fengjai, she could start from this aspect in the future and gradually win Lu Chen over to her side. Douluo Dalu was in a dilemma. Now that Lu Chen would not accept compensation, if he accepted this spirit bone, wouldn't it make him seem disloyal? In the end, it was Lu Chen who spoke again. "Big brother Douluo, you don't need to worry about me. You should accept this spirit bone as payment for preparing the antidote for those disciples of the 7 treasure glazed tile school." Lu Chen possessed twin spirits, and when he cultivated his second spirit, he would definitely take revenge himself. Douluo Dalu did not need to participate, and naturally, he did not need to worry about a single spirit bone. Hearing Lu Chen say this, Douluo Dalu gritted his teeth and put away the brocade box containing the spirit bone. While taking out the antidote and handing it to Ning Fengjai, he glared at the other party like a tiger watching its prey and said, "Sect Master Ning, remember what you said today. If you dare to take any improper actions against my brother Lan Chen again, I guarantee that the number of your 7 treasure glazed tile school disciples who die from poison will only be more than this time, not less." After obtaining the antidote, Ning Fengjai clearly breathed a sigh of relief. Being able to save hundreds of 7 treasure glazed tile school disciples was, after all, a good thing. He replied with a full face of smiles, "Of course, please rest assured, Your Excellency Billy. Next time, such a thing will absolutely not happen." That was what he said. But in Ning Fengjai's heart, that was not what he thought. His malice toward Lu Chen had never disappeared, it was just hidden deeper by him. This matter temporarily came to an end, and Ning Fengjai, taking Chen Xin with him, quickly left the Douluo residence. They still had to take the antidote back to save the poisoned disciples of the 7 treasure glazed tile school. As for Zhu Qing, she did not leave immediately. Instead, she looked at Lu Chen and said quite guiltily, "Mr. Lan Chen, you have been wronged in this matter. As a student, I cannot speak ill of my teacher, but in this matter, my teacher was indeed wrong, and wrong in a complete mess. As the teacher's student, I apologize to you solemnly on behalf of my teacher. I know that anything I say now is not worthy of your trust. But please rest assured, I will definitely stand on the side of fairness and justice. In the future, I will let you see my sincerity." After finishing, Zhu Qing bowed to Douluo Dalu and greeted Douluo Yan before turning and leaving the place. This Zhu Qing was very thoughtful in terms of etiquette, making people feel very comfortable. Chapter 72. The inherently evil little blue-haired guy Douluo residence. Most of the outsiders had left. Inside the main hall, only Douluo Dalu, Lu Chen, and Douluo Yan remained. Douluo Yan suddenly placed her hands on her hips, looked at her grandfather Douluo Dalu, and said, "Grandfather, although this spirit bone is precious, you shouldn't have accepted it. Now that you've accepted a spirit bone from the 7 treasure glazed tile school, wouldn't it be difficult for you to intervene if Lan Chen goes to seek revenge against the 7 treasure glazed tile school later?" Seeing his own beloved granddaughter already wrapped around Lu Chen, defending him everywhere and thinking only of him, Douluo Dalu couldn't help but feel a bit sour. He spoke up with annoyance. "You brat, you've started scolding your grandfather now. Anyone who didn't know better would think you and Lan Chen were the family, and that I, this old man, was the outsider." Hearing this, Douluo Yan blushed, stamped her feet, pouted, and continued, "Grandfather, I'm just speaking the truth. Without Lan Chen's support to help you defeat Chen Xin, if Chen Xin had defeated you, they certainly wouldn't have let us go. Even if we can't destroy the 7 treasure glazed tile school for various reasons, we shouldn't accept their spirit bone. Doesn't that imply we've forgiven them?" Douluo Dalu opened the brocade box again. Looking at the 50,000-year human-faced demon spider emperor right leg bone inside, he explained seriously, "Your grandfather here is not a man without backbone. One spirit bone, even a 50,000-year spirit bone, is not enough to buy me off. I accepted this spirit bone because I wanted to give it to you, Yan Yan. Your spirit has already evolved from the jade phosphor snake to the jade phosphorus dragon, and your talent and potential are both above mine. The 50,000-year human-faced demon spider emperor right leg bone is enough to solidify your foundation and make your future path of cultivation much smoother. In my life, perhaps breaking through to level 95 spirit power is my limit, but you are different. I hope you can break through to level 96 spirit power, or even level 97, and carry forward our lineage." After hearing what Douluo Dalu said, Douluo Yan immediately fell silent. If Douluo Dalu had accepted the spirit bone for Douluo Yan's sake, then as the beneficiary, she had no right to complain about him. Douluo Yan just happened to have someone she liked, and her heart tilted towards that person. But she wasn't a selfish or extremely egoistic person. She couldn't do something like eating from a bowl and then cursing the cook. Douluo Yan closed her mouth and turned to look at Chen. She didn't know what to do. She felt that absorbing this spirit bone would be unfair to Chen, and she hesitated, stammering, Chen. Chen smiled slightly and said nonchalantly, "Yan Yan, since Big Brother Douluo said this spirit bone is for you, you should absorb it in a while to avoid any complications. Don't have any reservations. I am just a small spirit saint right now and can't go head-to-head with the 7-treasure glazed tile school. Right now, I just want to cultivate properly and quickly improve my own spirit power. Big Brother Douluo's medicinal garden is quite good, with abundant energy, perfect for cultivation. I plan to go there and enter seclusion for a while." Comforted by Chen, Douluo Yan finally lost that sense of guilt. After letting out a sigh of relief, her expression relaxed, and she suddenly said with a giggle, Chen, since your true face has already been exposed to me and grandfather anyway, why don't you drop your disguise when we return to the medicinal garden in the sunset forest? Chen hesitated for a moment upon hearing this. Thinking that there were indeed no outsiders in the ice and fire yin-yang well, he nodded reluctantly and said, "This is fine. I disguise myself to hide from outsiders. Yan Yan, you and Big Brother Douluo are not outsiders. In front of you, I really don't need to disguise myself." Hearing this, Douluo Yan felt very happy. This was Chen's trust in them. More importantly, Chen's true face was that of a super handsome guy. Thinking that she would be able to see Chen's handsome face every day, Douluo Yan's mood became joyful, and she said with a beaming smile, "Yay." Meanwhile, Douluo Dalu, standing on the side, almost crushed the brocade box in his hand. His granddaughter's emotions had such a huge change because of one sentence from Chen. It was obvious she had taken a liking to him. Chen, this inherently evil little blue-haired guy, had actually made his granddaughter's heart flutter relying solely on a face. Douluo Dalu's heart felt ice-cold. The only thing that comforted him was that Chen's talent was astonishingly high. At such a young age, he was already a 7-ring spirit saint. He was more than enough for his granddaughter. Douluo Dalu thought it over and over, and in the end, he could only sigh. Heaven wants to reign and the granddaughter wants to marry. Let her be. Not long after, Douluo Dalu, Chen, and Douluo Yan left Heaven Du City, plunged into the sunset forest, and returned to the valley where the ice and fire yin-yang well was located, on the other side. Ning Fengzhai and Chen Xin, carrying the antidote given by Douluo Dalu, quickly returned to their sect. The moment they returned to the sect, Ning Fengzhai distributed the antidote and had it sent to those sect disciples who were being tortured to death by the deadly poison. In Ning Fengzhai's view, since Douluo Dalu had already accepted the spirit bone from the 7-treasure glazed tile school, it was unlikely he would use a fake antidote to fool them. After all, a titled Douluo would still want some face. Therefore, Ning Fengzhai distributed these antidotes without any inspection. Fortunately, Douluo Dalu still cared about his reputation, and these antidotes were real. Those 7-treasure glazed tile school disciples who took the antidotes slowly recovered, and in the end, over 400 spirit masters above the spirit grandmaster realm were saved. Unfortunately, later inspections revealed that although these spirit masters were saved, they had lingering effects from the torture of the deadly poison. Many of the spirit masters had their talent and potential damaged, making it difficult for them to have any significant improvement in strength in the future. This made Ning Fengzhai gnash his teeth in hatred, but he was helpless. This time, the massive 7-treasure glazed tile school had suffered heavy losses because of Douluo Dalu alone. Not only did many spirit masters die, but their reputation and prestige were greatly damaged, making the 7-treasure glazed tile school almost a laughingstock to others. Ning Fengzhai was devastated by the losses. He was getting angrier the more he thought about it, and every time he thought about this, he would slap his thigh in anger. Meanwhile, other forces on the Douluo Continent, such as the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan, Elephant Armored Academy, Black Tiger Sect, Wind Sword Sect, Fire Leopard Sect, and even the Spirit Hall. Besides watching the 7-treasure glazed tile school make a fool of themselves, they were sending people to inquire about the specific details. The 7-treasure glazed tile school trio, Ning Fengzhai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong, were also famous on the Douluo Continent. Having suffered such a big loss this time, they hadn't retaliated against Douluo Dalu. It was obvious they had been beaten up by Douluo Dalu, which was why they had lowered their heads and conceded. Douluo Dalu, this recognized weakest, titled Douluo, how could he possibly make Ning Fengzhai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong bow their heads? This made all the forces curious. As they investigated, the name Lan Chen entered their sight, a young but highly talented support soul master. At this moment, even if they hadn't seen that battle north of Jiling Pass with their own eyes, they could roughly infer what happened. It must have been with Lan Chen's support that Douluo Dalu made Ning Fengzhai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong stumble badly, which was why they lowered their heads. Lan Chen, a support soul master whose support ability surpassed that of Ning Fengzhai. Soon, all major forces began frantically inquiring about his information. Lan Chen could be considered famous now. Chapter 73, Blue-Silver Emperor, Spirit Beast Transformation Night. The study in the Crown Prince's residence. After more than 10 days spent reviewing numerous archives in Spirit Hall, Snake Lance Douluo, who had finally figured out Lu Chen's spirit, returned to Heaven Dew City immediately. Seeing Snake Lance Douluo return, Zhu King revealed an expression of great interest. Elder Snake Lance, it seems you have results regarding the matter I asked you to investigate. Tell me quickly, what exactly is Lan Chen's spirit? Elder Snake Lance had a grave expression. Bowing, the elder said, replying to the young lord in our Spirit Hall archives, that spirit of Lan Chen has only appeared once in the past 10 years. It is named Blue-Silver Emperor, and that domain is called the Blue-Silver Domain. The previous possessor of the Blue-Silver Emperor spirit was a woman named Yin. She was not human, but a spirit beast transformation. 10 years ago, this woman fell in love with Tang Hao of the Clear Sky sect, and it seems she was even pregnant. After our Spirit Hall learned of this information, the previous Supreme Pontiff led 2 elders to hunt down that spirit beast transformation named Yin. The young lord likely knows what happened afterwards, that Yin sacrificed herself for Tang Hao, allowing Tang Hao to become a titled Douluo, possessing a 100,000-year spirit ring. He not only killed 2 titled Douluo elders, but also heavily wounded the previous Supreme Pontiff, who died shortly thereafter from his injuries. This directly led to the ascension of the current Supreme Pontiff, as well as the hostility between our Spirit Hall and the Clear Sky sect. That Lan Chen's spirit is also the Blue-Silver Emperor. Young Lord, this subordinate suspects that some kind of connection might exist between that Lan Chen and Yin. Zhu King's eyes widened upon hearing this. He stood up from his chair instantly, not expecting so many secrets to be hidden within this. Yin, a spirit beast transformation, Tang Hao, the Clear Sky Douluo, the previous Supreme Pontiff, Qian Zunji, the current Supreme Pontiff, Bibai Dong. A single Lan Chen was actually involved in so many past events and so many figures. Zhu Qing's expression was unprecedentedly complex. Qian Zunji was his father and eventually died at the hands of Tang Hao, so he held a father-killing vendetta against Tang Hao. If Lan Chen truly had a connection to Yin, he wasn't even sure if he should continue to recruit Lan Chen. Immediately, Zhu Qing spoke in a stern voice. "Elder Snake Lance, don't hesitate. Tell me all of your speculations." Receiving Zhu Qing's approval, Snake Lance Douluo immediately voiced these speculations. "Young Lord, the blue-silver emperor spirit has never appeared on the continent before. Only that spirit beast transformation, Yin, ever possessed this spirit. Rumor has it that Yin was pregnant. Could this Lan Chen be Yin's descendant? That would explain why he awakened the blue-silver emperor spirit. After all, that face of Lan Chen's is fake. Perhaps beneath his disguise is an extremely young face." Hearing this absurd speculation, Zhu Qing revealed an expression of, "Are you kidding me?" He looked at Snake Lance Douluo with annoyance and said, "Elder Snake Lance, your speculation is too outrageous. That Yin was pregnant 10 years ago. Even if she did give birth to an offspring, that offspring would be at most 10 years old. Awakening a spirit at 6 years old, even if he had innate full spirit power, it would be impossible for him to become a 7-ring spirit saint in just 4 or 5 years. Unless there is someone who can cultivate the moment they are born, but that's impossible. Becoming a 7-ring spirit saint from nothing in 10 years. I can't do it, and Bibai Dong can't do it either. No one on this continent can do it. If someone really could, that person would only be a divinity descended to the mortal world." Zhu Qing could never have imagined that there really was someone who could cultivate the moment they were born, and could even cultivate just by breathing. In truth, Snake Lance Douluo also felt it was absurd. The elder was just offering a speculation. Now that Zhu Qing didn't believe it, the elder stopped talking about it and turned to the second speculation. "Young Lord, if this Lan Chen is not Yin's descendant, then he could only be her sibling. Yin was a 100,000-year spirit beast transformation. This Lan Chen might also be a 100,000-year spirit beast transformation. If this speculation is true, it could explain Lan Chen's powerful talent. It is rumored that 100,000-year spirit beast transformations must have innate full spirit power and possess extremely fast cultivation speeds, which aligns with Lan Chen being a 7-ring spirit saint at such a young age. Young Lord, this Lan Chen is too suspicious. He seems to have appeared out of thin air on the continent. He has no past and dares not show his true face, fully fitting the characteristics of a 100,000-year spirit beast transformation. Speaking of this, we might have truly wronged Schoolmaster Ning. Lan Chen changing his appearance and hiding his name was not because of the persecution of the 7 treasure glazed tile school, but because he is a 100,000-year spirit beast transformation. It must be said that Snake Lance Douluo's second speculation matched Lu Chen's characteristics perfectly. If Ning Fengzhai learned of this information, he might be moved to tears, as the grievance he had been bearing would finally be cleared. At this moment, Zhu Qing was frowning deeply. According to Snake Lance Douluo's speculation, many of Lu Chen's behaviors could be explained, but he still felt there was a problem. Zhu Qing couldn't help but shake his head. Impossible, absolutely impossible. If Lan Chen were truly a 100,000-year spirit beast transformation, how would he dare to approach and befriend Douluo Dalu? After all, a titled Douluo can see through the true form of a 100,000-year transformed spirit beast. Besides Douluo Dalu, the 7 treasure glazed tile school's sword Douluo, bone Douluo, as well as you, Elder Snake Lance and Elder Porcupine Fish, you have all met Lan Chen, but did you see through his transformation? Unless his disguise ability is so strong that even a titled Douluo cannot see his true form, otherwise he would have been exposed long ago. After these words fell, Zhu Qing did not speak again, and Snake Lance Douluo did not speak either. The study room fell silent for a time. Zhu Qing's heart was incredibly conflicted right now. He had originally wanted to use Lan Chen's spirit to find out his background and origin, so he could target him for recruitment into his ranks. The situation he had uncovered now left him somewhat indecisive. Snake Lance Douluo's two speculations. The first speculation was too absurd, and Zhu King did not believe it at all. The second speculation was slightly more reasonable, and Zhu King already somewhat believed it. If Lan Chen truly possessed a heaven-defying disguise ability, then everything could be reasonably explained. They could only think of these two speculations. As for the third speculation, that Lu Chen was a completely ordinary person who awakened an ordinary blue-silver grass, and then, in just 4 or 5 years, absorbed plant spirit rings all the way to evolve into a blue-silver emperor. This possibility would never appear in their minds from beginning to end. Zhu Qing's eyes were melancholy. Based on the current information, it was very likely that Lan Chen had some connection to Yin. Yin's death was forced by his father, although his father was also eventually beaten to death by Tang Hao. After thinking it over, Zhu King waved his hand helplessly. Elder Snake Lance, thank you for your hard work this time. The information you found must only be known to you and me. Do not tell a third person. Regarding Lan Chen's true identity, I will find an opportunity to test him again. Before it is finally determined, you must not take any rash actions. We will still prioritize recruitment for now. Lan Chen possesses auxiliary abilities exceeding those of Ning Fengzhai. His value has already been recognized by me. As long as I can recruit him, no matter what his identity is, I can boldly accept him. If he remains unwilling to join us, we will decide how to deal with him when that time comes. You may go down and rest. Since Zhu King had said so, Snake Lance Douluo could only nod in agreement. This subordinate obeys. Chapter 74, Spirit Bone Skill. Invisibility at the Ice and Fire Yin-Yang Well. Dugu Bo, Lu Chen, and Dugu Yan had returned to the Ice and Fire Yin-Yang Well for a day. There were no outsiders here, so Lu Chen removed his disguise, restoring his original appearance. Standing 1.9 meters tall, he had broad shoulders and a narrow waist. His posture was tall and straight, with a long head of blue hair draped neatly behind his head. His face appeared slightly youthful, but it was incredibly handsome. Lu Chen sometimes marveled that he didn't even look like himself anymore. The cosmetic ability of the blue-silver Emperor Martial Soul was simply incredibly powerful. Now, when Dugu Yan looked at him, her eyes were filled with pink hearts. This handsome appearance was indeed very popular. Back to business. After a day of adjustment, Dugu Yan's body had reached its peak state. Dugu Bo took out the brocade box once more, handed it to Dugu Yan solemnly, and said with expectation, Yan, I have checked this spirit bone. There are no problems. It is indeed a 50,000-year spirit bone, and it carries the aura of the human-faced demon spider emperor. Absorbing a spirit bone is not dangerous, and the earlier you absorb it, the greater the benefits. You should absorb this spirit bone now. Dugu Yan held the box with both hands, first looking at her grandfather, Dugu Bo, who was full of expectation and encouragement. Then she looked at Lu Chen standing aside. Lu Chen noticed her gaze and nodded at her with a smile. Encouraged by Dugu Bo and Lu Chen, Dugu Yan hesitated no more. She opened the box, took out the 50,000-year human-faced demon spider emperor right leg bone, and said firmly, Grandfather Lan Chen, I will start absorbing the spirit bone now. After speaking, Dugu Yan sat on the ground, placed the right leg bone on her right leg, circulated her spirit power, and merged it into the right leg bone. In an instant, the right leg bone bloomed with a black luster, exuding a cold and domineering energy fluctuation. Then, the right leg bone quickly vaporized into gaseous energy, and under the guidance of Dugu Yan's spirit power, it integrated into her body. This energy was extremely vigorous, filling her body and quickly stuffing her meridians, making Dugu Yan feel considerable pressure. After all, it was a 50,000-year spirit bone. Even if there was no danger in absorbing it, refining the energy was not easy. Dugu Yan fully activated her spirit, and a faint sound of a dragon roar came from within her body. Her jade phosphorus dragon spirit began to swallow and refine the energy pouring into her body. This made Dugu Yan feel her body relax. The jade phosphorus dragon spirit was like a bottomless black hole, swallowing the surging and vigorous energy rapidly. The refined energy then merged into Douluo Yan's limbs, bones, and internal organs, nourishing her entire body and every cell. This greatly improved Douluo Yan's physique. Especially her right leg, which gained the most benefit, as the spirit bone she absorbed was a right leg bone. The absorption of the spirit bone energy was on track. The rest was complete fusion with the spirit bone. This process was quite long. About 4 hours later, the aura rising on Douluo Yan finally climbed to a peak and then gradually stabilized. After a while, she fluttered her eyelashes and opened her emerald green eyes. At first, her eyes were a bit dazed, but within a few breaths, her eyes refocused, restoring their usual charm and allure while flickering with surprise. Douluo Yan jumped up from the ground, her chest bouncing along, and she said with joy, sharing her improvement with Douluo Bo and Lu Chen. "Grandfather, Lan Chen, I succeeded in absorbing the spirit bone. The energy of this spirit bone is truly abundant. It directly increased my spirit power by 3 levels. I went from level 46 spirit power to level 49 spirit power. It is truly worthy of being a 50,000-year spirit bone. 1 dragon origin fruit increased my spirit power by 10 levels, and 1 human-faced demon spider emperor right leg bone increased my spirit power by 3 levels. I haven't really cultivated properly for these past few months, yet I have increased my spirit power by over 13 levels. Also, this human-faced demon spider emperor right leg bone gave me a quite powerful spirit bone skill, invisibility. It is the human-faced demon spider emperor's invisibility ability, which can hide my figure and aura, and even evade the detection of mental force. It is a quite practical skill." After hearing Douluo Yan's introduction, Douluo Bo felt a bit surprised. He stroked his beard and said, "This Ning Fengjai seems to have been scared by me. The spirit bone he gave is not only of high quality but also has a practical skill. He is truly afraid that I will continue to poison their 7-treasure glazed tile school everywhere." Lu Chen also nodded in agreement. "It seems indeed so. Ning Fengjai wants to truly buy off Grandfather Douluo through this spirit bone, so you won't oppose their 7-treasure glazed tile school anymore. But thinking about it, it has only been a few days, and Grandfather Douluo has poisoned more than 300 spirit masters of the 7-treasure glazed tile school to death, and more than 500 spirit masters are being tortured to death by the severe poison. If this continues, in a month at the shortest, or 3 months at the longest, their 7-treasure glazed tile school will be completely removed from the Douluo Continent. For the 7-treasure glazed tile school, Ning Fengjai cares more than his own life, which is why he sent such an irresistible gift." After Lu Chen finished speaking, Douluo Yan pursed her lips, frowned, and said, "Lan Chen, now that my grandfather has accepted their spirit bone, and this spirit bone was eventually absorbed by me, the hatred between our grandfather and granddaughter and the 7-treasure glazed tile school can be considered resolved. It will not be easy to cause them trouble in the future. But what about you? If you want to take revenge on the 7-treasure glazed tile school in the future, I am afraid we cannot go with you. This spirit bone is good, but it is really a hot potato. The Douluo Continent is not a place without a bottom line. The spirit master's world also values human relationships. Ning Fengjai, Chen Xin, and Gu Rong intercepted Douluo Bo, Lu Chen, and Douluo Yan, which counts as establishing hatred, so naturally they can retaliate. Now that Douluo Bo and Douluo Yan have accepted their spirit bone, the hatred is considered resolved. If they retaliate later, they will not stand on moral ground. Lu Chen did not accept Ning Fengjai's 10 million gold coins just so he would be able to retaliate in the future. Hearing Douluo Yan's words, Lu Chen smiled and said, "No rush. Even if I want revenge, I don't necessarily have to kill my way to the 7-treasure glazed tile school, as long as I live well and cultivate to the titled Douluo realm. As a titled Douluo level support soul master, I will take away Ning Fengjai's position as the world's #1 support soul master and the 7-treasure glazed tile pagoda's position as the world's #1 support spirit. That will be enough to make Ning Fengjai miserable. There will be plenty of time to play with him slowly in the future. Dugu Yan looked straight at Lu Chen. Lu Chen's composure, calmness, and confidence made her heart flutter, and her voice carried a bit of admiration. You are right. You clearly don't look older than me, yet you have become a 7-ring spirit saint. With your aptitude, surely it won't be long before you become a support system titled Douluo. Lu Chen met Dugu Yan's gaze, his smile as warm as the sun, and he said encouragingly, Yan should also work hard. 1 dragon origin fruit and 1 50,000-year human-faced demon spider emperor right leg bone are enough to greatly improve your aptitude. Now that you are level 49 spirit power, work hard to reach level 50 spirit power soon, absorb the 5th spirit ring, and become a spirit king. A 16 or 17-year-old spirit king, even Spirit Hall cannot cultivate such a genius. Yan, you will definitely be able to surpass grandfather Dugu in the future. Under Lu Chen's praise, Dugu Yan felt overjoyed. Her face was flushed and she leaned closer and closer to Lu Chen. But such a scene, falling into the eyes of the big light bulb Dugu Bo nearby, made his face turn black instantly. Cough, cough. Dugu Bo used a burst of coughing to show his presence. He was afraid that if he didn't speak, Lu Chen and Dugu Yan would hug each other in front of him. Dugu Bo said with a dark face, Didn't you say you wanted to cultivate well? Then go cultivate well. I, an old man, will personally supervise you. After his words fell, Lu Chen and Dugu Yan looked at each other and smiled. Everything was left unsaid. Although they didn't speak, it was as if everything had been said. Dugu Bo felt a sense of discomfort, so he had to keep a straight face and sternly urged Lu Chen and Dugu Yan to go cultivate. Chapter 75. Earth Dragon Armor Beast the Ice and Fire Yin-Yang Well is truly a wonderful place. The exceptionally abundant ice and fire energy here is simply a paradise that allows Lu Chen's spirit power to increase rapidly. Lu Chen can absorb energy just by breathing. Within this ice and fire yin-yang well, there is naturally a double cultivation speed bonus. If he actively engages in meditation cultivation, the efficiency can double again, reaching 4 times the cultivation speed. 4 times the cultivation speed. This allows Lu Chen to clearly perceive his spirit power constantly increasing during the process of cultivation. This feeling is simply intoxicating, making him unknowingly immerse himself in it, spending half of every day cultivating. 2 months passed by in the blink of an eye. Lu Chen's spirit power improved significantly, increasing by a full level, from level 75 spirit power to level 76. This is a level of spirit power at the Spirit Saint stage. Other Spirit Saints might not even be able to improve by 1 level after half a year or even a year of cultivation. Lu Chen improved by 1 level of spirit power in 2 months. This cultivation speed is already extremely fast. Besides Lu Chen, there is also Dugu Yan. She has also been exceptionally diligent in her cultivation over these 2 months, successfully increasing her spirit power by 1 level. From level 49 spirit power to level 50, she has become a quasi-spirit king. As long as she absorbs a spirit ring, she can become a spirit king, a 16 or 17-year-old spirit king, enough to crush the Spirit Hall's golden generation. Dugu Bo was very happy and took Dugu Yan to search for a suitable 5th spirit ring for her. Naturally, Lu Chen would not be absent. Sunset Forest, Dugu Bo, Lu Chen, and Dugu Yan, the 3 of them moved slowly through the fog-shrouded forest, appearing completely unguarded. In fact, there was no need to be on guard. Relying on Dugu Bo's strength as a titled Douluo, the spirit beast in this sunset forest would run as far away as they could, and they would never dare to actively attack them. Furthermore, there was Lu Chen. With his blue-silver domain spread out, all the blue-silver grass in this forest would willingly become his eyes and ears. Any movement in the surroundings would be reported to Lu Chen immediately by the blue-silver grass that covered the forest. Now, for the 3 of them, the most important thing was to discuss the choice for Dugu Yan's 5th spirit ring. Dugu Bo shared his experience. My 5th spirit ring came from a 10,000-year spirit beast named the Tiangang centipede. The Tiangang centipede is highly poisonous and has an indestructible shell. Relying on these 2 abilities, the Tiangong centipede is an overbearing existence among 10,000-year spirit beasts. Back then, when I absorbed the Tiangong centipede's spirit ring, not only did it greatly enhance the toxicity of my spirit, but it also granted me a defensive spirit ability called the Jade Phosphor Tiangong Shield. This skill is extremely practical and has blocked fatal damage for me many times under enemy attacks. Yan, for the spirit beast required for your 5th spirit ring, why not also choose a 10,000-year Tiangong centipede? As a titled Douluo of the Jade Phosphor snake lineage, Douluo Dalu's experience had immense value and was worth Douluo Yan's serious consideration. Douluo Yan revealed a thoughtful look, seriously considering this proposal. At this moment, Chen also spoke up. Brother Douluo, your spirit is the Jade Phosphor snake, and Yan's spirit is the Jade Phosphorus dragon. Yan does not need to copy your experience in absorbing spirit rings completely. The Tiangong centipede can certainly strengthen the poison attribute and bring a very good defensive spirit ability, but it may not necessarily be suitable for the current Yan. Yan's growth direction can continue to move towards the path of dragon transformation. For this 5th spirit ring, it would be better to choose a spirit beast that possesses a dragon bloodline. In my opinion, the future of dragon transformation is definitely stronger than the future of poison. Once these words were spoken, Douluo Yan's eyes sparkled as she looked at Chen. Without much hesitation, she immediately nodded and agreed. I also think that what Chen said is correct. If I absorb a spirit ring from a spirit beast with a dragon bloodline, it might even allow my Jade Phosphorus dragon spirit to evolve to be even more powerful and perfect. This is more meaningful than absorbing a poisonous spirit beast's spirit ring to amplify my poison attribute. I have decided. For my 5th spirit ring, I will absorb a spirit ring from a spirit beast with a dragon bloodline. With just a few words, Chen and Douluo Yan set the direction for Douluo Yan's 5th spirit ring. Beside them, Douluo, although he also thought that what Chen said made sense, still felt uncomfortable in his heart seeing his granddaughter trust Chen so unreservedly. He sighed. His granddaughter was grown up now, and she really wasn't as close to him as her grandfather anymore. A grown daughter is hard to keep in the end. Douluo did not raise any objections. Since you have already discussed it, this old man has nothing to object to. For Yan's 5th spirit ring, we will select a spirit beast with a dragon bloodline. Seeing that the 3 of them had reached a consensus, Chen fully expanded his blue-silver domain, preparing to search the sunset forest for a spirit beast with a dragon bloodline of a suitable age. Under normal circumstances, with Chen's mental force, the expansion limit of the blue-silver domain is 1,500 meters. But in places like forests and grasslands where blue-silver grass is lush, the expansion range of the blue-silver domain is almost limitless. The consumption of Chen's expansion of the blue-silver domain would be shared by all the blue-silver grass within the blue-silver domain. Therefore, Chen's blue-silver domain could manage to cover an entire forest directly. Before long, Chen's blue-silver domain covered the entire sunset forest. All the blue-silver grass in the sunset forest were cheering and jumping for joy at this moment, slightly bending towards Chen's direction, as if on a pilgrimage. Chen immediately gave the order to search within the sunset forest for a spirit beast with a dragon bloodline between 10,000 and 20,000 years old. Upon receiving the order, all the blue-silver grass acted. Various pieces of information quickly converged, and finally, the information about the spirit beast that met the requirements was transmitted to Chen's mind one by one. Found it, this is it. Chen suddenly opened his eyes. Through the information reported by the numerous blue-silver grass, he quickly locked onto a spirit beast that met the requirements. Brother Douluo, Yan, follow me quickly. After speaking, Chen took the lead and rushed towards a certain direction in the forest. Seeing this, Douluo could not help but show joy. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart that Chen's domain ability was truly convenient. He immediately reached out to grab Douluo Yan's shoulder, taking Douluo Yan with him to follow behind Chen, and they rushed forward together. About 20 minutes later, Chen, with Douluo Bo and Douluo Yan, arrived at their destination for this trip. They saw a behemoth on the open space in front of them, leisurely basking in the sun. That behemoth was nearly 10 meters long, covered in thick scales, with sturdy limbs, and a row of sword spines on its back covering it from head to tail. Earth Dragon Armor Beast. This is a sub-dragon spirit beast that possesses a certain dragon bloodline. That body of thick, heavy scales gives it indestructible defensive power. Of course, its attack ability is not inferior to its defensive ability. That row of extremely sharp sword spines on its back is its most powerful weapon, sufficient to tear through the flesh of any spirit beast. Chen said to Douluo Bo and Douluo Yan. I think this Earth Dragon Armor Beast is very suitable for Yan's requirements, though the age is a bit high, with about 20,000 years of cultivation. But it should still be within the range that Yan can absorb. Yan has eaten the dragon origin fruit and absorbed a 50,000-year spirit bone, which is enough to greatly increase her body's endurance. As for the soul shock, the residual dragon might from the dragon origin fruit is enough to make the Earth Dragon Armor Beast's residual soul not dare to act rashly. Brother Douluo, Yan, do you think this is feasible? We've already crossed halfway to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and enjoying these novel audiobooks. Every subscribe, like, comment, and share helps us grow faster and bring you even more epic stories. If you love revenge stories, Overpowered MC's rebirth and system novels, fantasy adventures, and cultivation worlds, long, immersive audiobook uploads, then subscribe and join the journey to 1K subscribers. We're more than halfway there. Let's hit this milestone together.